me.
So, I thought we were going to have a whole lot of E3 stuff to talk about this week, but apparently I jumped the gun. So, a lot of that stuff is going to be next week, but welcome back. This is the We Love Gaming podcast. This is episode 54. And once again, we'd like to thank you guys for joining us. If you guys would like to donate to the podcast, the Patreon link is down below, but enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into the games. But, I got my guys with me. Markariah, Ray,
how's it going?
Sir Knight, you know what I mean? So, Mark, what you got? What games have you been playing this week?
So this week it started with a little tabletop simulator.
Okay, what's the name of
I
it?
purchased that a while ago to play.
Yeah.
Star
That's
Wars.
the actual name of it?
Star Wars
Tabletop
X-Wing.
Star
Simulator?
Wars X-Wings on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we played that with your brother-in-law.
Yeah. You
That
remember
was
that?
fun.
We
Yeah,
played
that was
that?
cool.
Yeah, that was fun, man.
So yeah, I played it because there's this new card, or I guess a card game came out like a year ago called Flesh and Blood, and I wanted to try it out, so I just downloaded the tabletop simulator mod for it.
You said it's a card game?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no like online version for it or anything. So I
Yeah.
just downloaded the tabletop simulator pack for it just to check it out.
Right.
So I messed with that just for a little bit. But the main game I played this week was Returnal.
Okay.
So
Finally
I
got your hands
it.
on that sucker.
Yeah, so I got it.
Gamefly provided.
Yeah, shout out to Gamefly.
Finally, man. It took forever, but
So I got it like 2 weeks
It's
ago,
here.
but I just haven't played it until this week.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so I had it for a week or two. I just haven't played it until this week. So I'll start with saying that the game, the world, is probably my favorite piece of the whole game. So it does a good job of making it feel very eerie. It makes it good. Like the mystery is really high in the game. Now the mystery very, very quickly goes away. So when you do each biome, the first time it's pretty fun. Your first run through it.
Yeah.
So I've completed the first 2 biomes.
Okay. Just
But
moving.
the first biome at first, I was inching through. I didn't know what to expect at every time you open a new room. I was very cautious. Like, is there a trap in here?
Right.
Because a couple times when I first started playing it, I jumped into the water and I was like, oh, I guess I can't swim. There's like treasure chests in the water. There's like chests and
so
loot
you
in the
have
water.
to like get the water out
There's
of
an
there
there's
before
an
you can
item
jump
you'll
down?
get later on
Yeah.
that will let you get in the water.
Yeah,
okay.
so
Slowly you start getting things that let you go to new places in each
yep.
biome.
So
Okay.
you unlock new things.
Castlevania style.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there's like a lot of, I guess, pseudo traps. Like you'll try it first and you're like, oh, I can't do this yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a platform you think maybe I can get to there, but you can't until you get your grappling hook, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of like mystery like that, but it quickly fades away when you figure it out.
Yeah.
But so far I like it a lot.
Okay.
It's easier than I anticipated. I would say I looked up some reviews of it, but it looks like they did hot fix a couple things. One was going back to your ship to heal. I don't know if you.
I know I had never used that mechanic, but I know you can go back and sleep and heal up your guy.
So that used to be a thing. So what people would do is for like the first,
You just collect all the green you heal up and collect the green orbs
they would
to
just
boost
keep
your health
going
up.
back to the ship to heal. But that's not a thing anymore. They took
Okay.
that out of the game.
Oh, I never even
So-
used that mechanic, but
yeah.
that's crazy.
So
you
that
said
out.
they took it out though?
yeah, because people.
You can only do that for biome 1 though, right?
Yeah.
It's just people basically in this game when you collect a green orb for health, if you already have max health, there's a little 3 stack right next to your health. So when you collect a new piece of green health, if your health's already full, you get 1 dot of that green stack of that 3 stack,
okay.
and when you fill all 3, it maxes
Increases
your
your-
health larger.
yeah.
It
Makes
makes
your
your
health
health
bigger.
Yeah, health pool.
So
Yeah.
it pluses you if you were crafty enough to get through.
If you can get
a
through
lot
without
of it
getting
without
hit,
getting hit.
and find the greens, but
just
that's
gives
what
you
people do. They
bonuses.
try to make themselves as OP as they can in biome 1.
Right.
What they were doing, what he's saying is, you see a green thing, like, oh, I don't want to pick that up. Let me go back to the
They'll
ship
save
right
them.
quick,
Heal,
save,
and
and
then
then
run
run back and
back
pick
to
it
it.
up.
And it doesn't reset anything by sleeping.
Nah.
All the enemies are still down.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they nerfed it, and like if
It's
you
like
sleep,
once now, right?
if you sleep, it heals you just like a tiny bit.
So you could just heal a bunch of times with your SSD, right? Just keep going to sleep until you fill it up.
So yeah, that's how it was previously, but not anymore. Now you could only go to sleep once, and when you go to sleep, it just heals
Diminishes
you a
returns.
tiny bit. It doesn't.
Damn,
It's not
okay.
even worth doing.
And I think there's diminishing returns on even that little bit.
Oh, really?
Like if you keep doing it, it's even smaller and smaller than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it goes
I only
like
tried it
minute.
once.
They really don't want you to do
But
that.
yeah, so I mean, yeah. But and here's another reason why it's super easy. You're like the kiting master in this game. In other games, you had to like get equipments, abilities to be able to just run. But in Returnal,
You
because
run
of
fast as shit.
especially in the first biome, you can just go between doors, and the doors are like the most OP thing in the game.
Yeah, it's a cheese thing too. You
so
can
like
run out of room.
let's say there's like 10 enemies
Unless
in
it's a
there.
locked room though.
You could run into the other room. The door closes.
Yeah.
You could reload, do whatever you want to do.
And then run
Go
back in there.
or you can just keep kiting between the rooms. So
Okay.
that was kind of like insanely overpowered to me.
Now,
because-
did you just figure that out, or you?
Yeah, I just
advanced on
figured it out because when I learned about the health thing, like I didn't want to take any damage. So when I would run through the first biome, I was like, okay, I can't take 1 point of damage. I want to max my health out before I go to the second biome.
Yeah.
So I started just doing that. There's like an online feature where if you see where somebody died before, I guess kind of like
know,
Dark
it's some
Souls where
shit
you see the
popping
puddle,
up.
you can like click them. You could see their little animation before they died, and then it summons like a little creature. So sometimes those creatures do
those are hard.
a little bit of damage.
Those creatures are tough.
So I would sometimes kite those.
Okay, so it's something that you could fight, like with Neo when you summon the spirit, and then you can chop it down.
You like avenge it. You like avenge. So whatever. Yeah, what killed them kind of like possesses their body.
Oh,
and you fight it now, and they're like
okay. Because I was like, why would you fight the person's soul or whatever? But
no, it's like the creature, you avenge them. So it's not like you're not saving them, you're avenging them.
Okay. Do you get a bonus for doing that or not?
You get
Like
some
an item, but it's not really
you
like
get some item or either.
it's random though, right? It's a random
it's
item,
random.
so you're not guaranteed what you want.
Yeah,
I kind of skip those people because of that, because it's like never usually worth it.
I always
I always
do
be as much of a risk as you dropping down into those holes.
See, that's the only time I die in biome 1. I was gonna ask you did you drop down in any of the?
Yeah, I
and there's
dropped
like
down in
massive boss down there. Have you ran into the massive boss yet down there? Like a red boss?
No, I haven't ran down any of those. bosses
Always
before.
run into it.
It's
man.
always like a little,
always
like a little treasure trap.
Yeah,
room or
there's like
something.
treasures. Like it's probably like 70-30 in my case. Like the majority of the time, it's something good.
I've probably done about 10 of those, but I haven't ran into.
But
any
there's
of the
like
bosses.
big. It's like which is why I said I might have to cut that out of my runs, because I'd fall down there, and there'd be a big red. I'm like a red boss, and there, dude, you wouldn't believe the stuff this thing's doing. Like it was shooting out little electrical orbs that were like doing beams. He had like 3 of those out, and then he was shooting like a whole bunch of things at me. And on top of that, he had like red health, so he was like a boss that was like super hard to kill. And I'm like, dude, this is insane. All I have is my entry level pea shooter, because like it would happen like early on. So like I have no power ups yet. I have no items. I have my entry level pea shooter. I'm supposed to fight this thing, and I'm like doing the best I can, but like I would end up dying to it. You know.
What do you get from killing that boss? Nothing.
You get rewarded pretty well. Like, so when I first played through my first run, I didn't run into the big boss in the yellow ground collapser until like the end, so I felt really strong. I had my carbine, my automatic rifle. I had like lots of health. I had abilities. So I was feeling pretty strong, so I actually killed it.
Yeah,
but it's so random, right? That I might hit it immediately.
I would probably
so the best thing to do is like try to get as strong as you can, and then maybe go back and hit the yellows.
Yeah, I would probably scour the top levels.
But I also found it really hard to like I said, I don't think the game is hard, but I found it hard to not get hit. Like that was hard, like to never get hit, because you wanted to get the. So when I learned about that too, I never wanted to get hit either. I don't want to take a point of damage either. But when I first played through the game, I got the farthest I ever did by just playing it normally, by just collecting green arms when I was low on health, collecting items, and I felt strong enough. So in my mind, I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to doing that whole. Let's try to be as meticulous as I can and never get hit, or just play it normally.
Yeah.
And
So that also leads to why I think the game is easy, because 1, you can kite through doors. 2, you can just run past everything. So at first,
and they don't
for
chase
biome
you?
1 and 2, I would kill everything. But now I just run past. I pick up all the treasure. I go through each door. It doesn't lock you in each room.
Okay.
Some of them it says like encounter locked or something.
Room, though.
There is a locked mechanic, but just progressing through the game, let's say you just want to get to the boss.
Yeah.
It's like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, when you memorize the map and you just run past everything. Same thing in this game. So the enemies aren't, when I first ran through them, they were kind of scary, but I was like, oh, I could just run past everything, and there's a limit to what they follow you. So you can just run past everything. It's not actually that scary. It's not that harmful. So that's what I do now. I just run past everything, collect everything. And
so there's never like some shit that's like in the middle of like 3 guys that you gotta like try to collect.
You kite it though,
before?
they chase you and stuff.
Yeah.
But the only time that strategy would mess up is if you enter the waved room, where they lock you and you have to fight everything.
Yep. So there is certain encounters that it does lock, but it's it's not every room. When I would assume like, okay, to get to the next part, you gotta
eradicate everything in this room. So
you
then
can
open the
just
door.
run past. So
because a lot of roguelites are lock you in the room.
Yeah, like
this is unusual, right?
Yeah,
for a roguelike,
mostly all of them. Binding of Isaac.
You
Enter
have
the
to
dungeon.
you have to kill everything before you can progress.
Before you move.
If you enter that room, you have to make sure you can kill it.
This one you can run past everything, and also in this one you get unlimited ammo. In other ones, your little pea shooter is unlimited, but the weapons you collect are not. In this, all the ammo is unlimited.
Okay, so you can find a really powerful gun, and then that sucker's just gone.
And here's another thing that's interesting. I would say,
wait. Sorry, before you started, do you have to reload?
Yes, the reload, but you can't do it at will. The reload, you could only reload when your clip is empty, and then it's just like this little skill check where you have to stop.
time hit it.
You have to stop in the middle.
It's distracting though. When you're in the middle of a fight, you're not really worried about it. You're just trying to get through it.
But when you have adrenaline, luckily that thing is pretty big, so you could just hit it.
Oh, okay. So you have like a bigger window to like do the reload and stuff. Okay.
Exactly.
Kind of like the key and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the key. Yeah.
Yeah. But
it's not as visual though, because in Neo you have the big plume and you can see it.
Right.
Without having to look at a little bar. It's literally like on your cursor.
Oh, okay.
On your shooting cursor.
I got you.
Yeah. So and I would say the guns don't. I don't know. Maybe you guys in the comments, but I feel like the guns don't matter as much as you might think. Because at first I was like comparing stats, but you can just use like a pistol, a carbine.
The
and
only thing that matters is the damage stat.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's the only thing that you should worry about.
And
So when you're going through, so if you find, and if you find a gun, let's say it's like you have a 3-star gun, just example, and you find a 2-star gun, but the points aren't damage, you're taking the 2-star over the 3-star. The damage makes a big difference.
That makes sense.
The other stats don't seem to make a difference at all, dude.
Really,
whatsoever.
Wonder why
they're
they
just
have
jank stats in my
It doesn't
opinion.
matter if the bullets move faster or not. It doesn't matter because
it's like projectile
they're all
speed.
homing. Yeah, they're all homing.
There's another one
Every
that's like
bullet is
stability.
Yeah, stability. All the bullets. If your cursor's on the guy, your bullets are hitting it. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Where out of line you are.
The shooting is like really. It feels really good, and it's like aimbot in my opinion.
Yeah, it is
like
aimbot.
either the what is it? The aim assist or something.
Yeah.
But literally you can just like
as long as your cursor's touching it.
I just aim in general directions and I'm just dashing, running around, and you're killing things.
It's probably because you're doing so much movement that it has to be.
It is a big
helpful
movement game
and
because you move really fast.
You're just constantly
very
running
swift.
everywhere, right?
And I like the dashing in this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like other games where when you dash, you have frames of invulnerability.
Right.
So
You move through things.
you just move through all the crazy bullets that are coming at you.
So is it like a phasing dash, or you just moving
It's like
so quick?
you can
It's
hold
got a
it.
little bit
So
of a
it's like
trail.
it's like jumping in fighting games. Like the longer you hold it, the
a
longer
higher
distance.
jump or something.
Yeah. So if you just tap it, it's just a quick little dash. If you hold it, it's a long dash.
Yeah.
So that's like super OP that you have that because you can go through any projectiles. You can go through anything with it, and you're invulnerable for those frames. So
It's got a little miniature, like 2-second cooldown though.
Yep.
The dodge. It's not like you can't just keep dodging like a lot of games.
And maybe later, but all the chests, I always take all the negatives. So it's like chests have a chance to spawn, I guess. It says
Malfunctions.
they can be malfunctions. It says
That's
like,
the purple ones, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of those, I just stack them all because none of them are actually
Bad for you?
debuffs. Like one says if you stay stationary, your damage is reduced, but you never stay stationary. And then some of them are like the mobs leave pools, behind. But who cares when
There was one that was tough. One that was counterattack. That one was really tough.
Oh, really?
Have you seen that
Like
one yet?
thorns or something like that?
No, like if you shoot, whenever you hit them, they fire one right back at you for every shot.
Oh.
So it's like
So
a
that's
lot
like
more
thorns then.
projectiles
Dang.
coming
So
at
that
you.
would suck. I haven't ran into
That one was tough, man. But you're right. A lot of them aren't. But that, one
one
was
would blow.
tough, man. It sucks.
But you're at least reading them before you accept them, right? Or you
No,
just
it's
clicking,
random.
clicking.
So if there's like
It's a random malfunction.
It's a random malfunction. So
Right,
things-
but I'm saying like when you accept the malfunction, you're at least reading it, or are you just taking
No.
like whatever?
because
it
it's a
is?
random malfunction.
The
that you
item
get.
says high chance for random malfunction. It's not telling you what it is.
Oh,
It's just
so
all
it
random.
doesn't give you.
Mm.
It
You just
doesn't
get a
let you
random
know
one.
what you're getting when you
can
get it. It's
cleanse
just a
it.
grab bag.
Yeah,
Right.
You can cleanse it, but I haven't been spending my Aether on anything. I just been because I don't know what.
Just
it's for.
remember there's a max of 30 on the Ether.
Oh crap! I
So
think I'm
make
actually
sure-
at the max.
Well, then you need to spend it.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
So you spend it on things like the mold where you get in there and it lets you live again.
Yeah. So I've been seeing those, but I had no idea.
That lets you
is it a
respawn
checkpoint?
again.
Oh, so you
It's like a
from there?
checkpoint.
You've been running by
it's
him
like a
and not even
checkpoint.
using
I
it.
don't use them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, make sure you spend that ether because there's a max of 30 of it.
So
keep
you
an eye on
always
it.
start from that when you die, or just one time?
Just the one
once.
time.
Oh, okay. Oh, and also too.
That's how I was able, because I had that for the second biome. That's how I was able to try the boss one more time. Remember when I was telling you my playthrough, how I died, and then when I went back, everything had been killed, nothing respawned,
Right.
Gotcha.
and I just went back to the boss to try again.
Oh,
Right.
and the cool thing is too, I guess it's cool, but once you beat the boss in that biome, you can just run past everything for your next run.
Yeah.
So like,
I told you once you beat boss, you don't have to fight it again. Checkpoint.
So it's not required.
There's
Right.
a portal.
But there's still enemies and shit that pop up. You could still fight the boss again if you wanted, but you could just blitz past all of that.
Because there's a portal
and go straight
that
to
goes
the
to the next
one.
biome.
And you have like the key to the portal. You know?
Is the portal close, or is it like all the way on
random.
the other end
but
of it?
it's
random.
pretty fast.
Okay.
You can get there, I would say, in literally a minute or two.
Do you know where it's at?
No.
Or?
No, but you always have a compass.
Uh-huh.
And I would say the mini map in this game is OP because you always see all the enemies on the mini map. There's no like someone's coming up from behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Your mini map is like the most OP radar because all the NPCs are on that mini map.
Yeah.
And it always has a compass indicator on where you go for the objective. So
Okay.
it's like a little easier than another roguelike where you're just like, is it in this room? Is it in this room?
Yeah, where
In
you're just
this,
kind of looking.
You always
and then
know what
there's that
direction
room
to
that's
go. You know
gonna
that
pop.
orange circle on your map. You always know where to go.
Mhm.
So I thought that was pretty cool too. Like
Yeah, they give you the objective,
You
and it
just-
usually is taking you to the portal
That's cool.
because they know you don't want to fight the boss again.
Right.
There is no point in fighting the boss again, except that whole
the
cube
cubes.
thing,
Yeah.
which you do have to
For
fight
the
boss.
items that you get to bring
because you
back?
find cubes in the world, and those like have things that give you permanent things.
It's like a permanent statting. It's like
Yeah.
a permanent affix to your character.
Yeah.
So you could keep doing biome 1 over and over and over
you
and
keep
over
getting
and
a
over
cube.
again and getting a new cube.
you get
each
the
time.
cube. The cube's in like usually a hidden room.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever notice the
The walls that you can break.
not the walls that you can break, but like the prison cell where there's like a box or a chest behind it?
Yeah, and you always hit the little light.
There's a little light you have to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know that everything that has yellow on it, you break, and it has obliterate in it.
Yeah, so I've been once
A
I got my
blood ring?
sword, I just started hitting everything.
Yeah, like you'll be running around the world, and you might come across like a statue.
Yeah.
And it looks like every other statue, but its eyes are yellow. If you hit that statue, it'll give you obliterate, which is like a currency to buy.
Oh, okay.
It's a one run currency. It's not like ether. The ether carries over. That 30 he was talking about.
So you got to use it then and there.
the
or
obliterate.
like-
You have to use that in there. But that's one way to collect obliterate pretty quickly. Is everything that has yellow.
Uh-huh.
Look for yellow, and that's gonna have obliterate in it. So let me ask you really quick. Do you agree with me then that this game would have been better had they just added a couple more biomes and made it Souls-like rather than rogue-like?
I would say that it would probably be funner that way.
Yeah.
But it would make the game so quick and easy to play.
Well, think about it, because your first go through the biome is slow.
Yeah.
So
true.
you spend an hour in the first biome, you spend an hour in
'Cause
the
there's
second
6,
biome.
right?
Yeah. Imagine if they added just a couple more biomes. You'd have
Yeah,
about
you're right.
10, 12-hour game, depending on how fast you were. And you beat the boss and just move on instead of having to go back and worry about running through the zones again. Because you're right, it's cheap. Once you've beat the boss, you just blow through the zones. So
just
why
be like-
bother with it?
Yeah.
Just make it a Souls-like. Add a couple more biomes. Because it feels like Souls-like. Like you mentioned it's like a Souls game your first go through. You're creeping around the corners, you're looking, you're exploring. The mystery's awesome, just like a Souls game.
Yeah.
To me, it felt so much like a Souls game
Yeah. Absolutely.
at its core. More so than it did a roguelike at its core, in my opinion. Because you're right. In Souls games, you can kite. In Souls games, you have infinite ammo. It's your sword. In Souls games, all those things, you can get keys and things that let you go back and do new things that you couldn't get through before.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's much more a Souls-like game than it is a roguelike game,
Yeah.
like Enter the Gungeon or Binding of Isaac. It doesn't really feel like those games.
Yeah.
It feels like a Souls-like game to me. And I think it just would have been really cool
Yeah.
had you been able to just play it. Let's just keep playing it through, add a couple more biomes. The bosses are really well done. They're really cool.
They're
Just
cool.
like Souls-like. They feel really good. I don't know. I just think it would have been really cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
Game of the Year in my book, I bet you could have really gotten really high. I bet you they would have got higher scores had they made that game than what they gave us.
Yeah.
What scores were they getting? They was getting like 80s, weren't they?
In the 80s, but I think they
high
would have been
80s.
like in the 9s.
Yeah.
Maybe a 92, 93 level game.
Yeah. So there's 6 biomes.
Right.
I just got to the 3rd. It's my understanding that after you beat the 3rd, once you get there's like 2 acts. There's Act 1, which is biomes 1 through 3, and then Act 2, I think, which is
3 through 6,
4 through 6. So I think once you get to the second act, that's where you respawn. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is that
Yes, you can respawn.
I think that's where you're
only into those zones. Yeah, the zone moves. Yeah, so the first 3
So your
are no
respawn
longer a
moves.
problem.
Yeah, your respawn moves to half the game. So I thought that
that's cool.
When I read that, I was like, that's interesting for a Souls-like game.
It's not Souls-like. It's
roguelike.
roguelike. It feels like a Souls-like game, doesn't it?
It's weird for a roguelike. It's weird for a roguelike to do that because you're like now you're even skipping the So yeah, it's like the game can't make up its mind. Like, does it want you to run through the whole game, or does it with these checkpoints and other things?
It doesn't want to be a Souls-like.
Yeah, so I think it's its own game. I'm not gonna put it in any hole, but it's a really fun game. The graphics are outstanding. The story is really, really weird. So if you're into like looking at clues, have you ever went in the house?
I still haven't gone in the house yet.
So every time you go into the house, it like replays the story. The only reason why I go into it every time is because you get an item when you get out of it. Oh, okay. So you can get like an item where the little miniature man. So if you die, the astronaut. So if you die, you get respawned. So those are OP as heck.
But that's a one time. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just for that gameplay. It's just like hitting a pod or anything else. It's just a one time use of that run through.
So let me ask you this: knowing the length and, in your opinion, simplicity, is this something that you think is $70? This is a $70 AAA game.
I'm gonna reserve casting the price until I play through it, because if the second act, if those biomes are literally the same as the first with just different bosses, because I feel like the difficulty of the first and second boss were more or less the same. So I don't know if it gets progressively harder or mechanics going to change. If the last act of the game is the same as the first but just a different environment, then I will say it's not worth it. But once I play through the last act and all the biomes, then I'm going to probably be able to give my fair share on is this worth it or not.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think it is already. I don't need to play it through just because of what it is. Because just in my opinion, I don't think roguelike should be $70 ever.
But that's just how you've been feeling.
That's just how I feel about roguelikes, just because I don't like the fact that they're reusing content. To me, that's not AAA. AAA is always new content from start to finish. My whole playthrough is always new content from start to finish. Amongst a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And I do think that we do as a community have to have a standard objective definition of what a AAA game is. I don't think the definition is just if it's fun for you or if you like it. I think there has to be a standard objective definition of what a AAA title is.
I think there's one out there. It's just probably something that not everybody
we haven't
with.
Talked about or agreed upon it, but I do think that we do all tend to understand that Far Cry is a AAA game. We don't ever question it. Mm-hmm. We know and understand, right? Cyberpunk's a AAA game. We don't question it.
But
so what are the attributes about those games that make us not question it? That would be the definition of a AAA game.
But you know what a AAA studio is, and you know what an indie studio
is. It's largely the number of people and the budget in the studio.
Right.
But what those studios produce are much bigger games as well, right? Mm-hmm. So the aspects that they're producing are what make a AAA title,
right?
In my opinion.
So I think it probably.
And I don't think this reaches that.
It probably boils down to like your number of employees that you have at your studio making it. But I mean, just like Experiment 101 can create Biomutant, but they're published by THQ Nordic. You know what I mean? It's like they got a bigger publisher. Name, backing them. So I don't know. Like I'm not a game developer, so I don't know the ins and outs of that to know like, oh, do they get help and making the game and then the publishing, or is it just straight publishing? You know what I mean? But that would be interesting to know.
They probably get some funding and some help.
That would be interesting to know. You know what I mean? Like if I choose to do it from them,
so
yeah. But I mean, it's kind of like if you write a book, but then you go to like Amazon and you have them publish the book for you. You know what I mean? Amazon didn't do shit, but like put your book together and then put it out there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I just don't know like how much involvement it is. It'd be cool if like, I can choose to have like, Sony.
Amazon's more of a retailer though than like a publisher.
Yeah, but when you like, if you make a book or if you want a book or something like that, you can get your book published by Amazon.
So Amazon has a publishing department?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I just don't know how much they're involved with it, or if they're literally just getting your thing made and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Well, I just think traditionally with publishers, they probably help you edit with editing and picking the concept if they even believe in the concept or the idea. I'm sure all that's part of it.
yeah, I don't know,
putting
because
their name
I've
on
never
it,
done
but-
publishing a book or anything like that, or
Yeah.
a game. But yeah, I'd be interested to know, to actually know like what involvement these bigger names have with it, or if they're just using their way to like, hey, you give us 10% of your profits, we'll get that game out there free or something like that.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
But yeah, but once I beat it, I'll tell you if it's worth 70 or not. But so far it's really fun. It's really fun. I'm glad I got to play it, just because there's a lot of, I don't know, I guess hype around it.
Yeah.
I checked last night how many people are streaming Returnal, and there's 244
Ooh,
on
okay.
prime time Friday night.
Interesting.
So that's not much.
So it's still dropping pretty heavy.
So
but-
that
That's a little. That's
that,
nothing.
that's
but I mean, it's
nothing.
been almost a month since
That's
it
not
released,
even
right?
top
Nothing,
100.
though. Yeah.
So it's down there. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
but oddly enough, I checked OfferUp too this week, and I didn't see any used copies that were local.
No?
So people are hanging
It's
on
still
to
hard
it.
to find that game.
Yeah, people are still holding
I
on
think
to
that
it.
has.
Oddly.
I think it's maybe more to do with they didn't put a lot available to buy. I think it was a low shipped game, and
Yeah.
a lot of the sales are digital on that game.
Yeah, probably that makes sense because there's only so many consoles out
There's
there.
just no one has it. I don't
Yeah.
think. So
So, anywho, that's what I've been playing this week.
cool.
Okay,
Thanks,
nice.
man.
What about,
What about
you,
you?
Mark?
So
I mean, Ray.
they launched this year the Disco Elysium Final Cut.
For console, right?
Yeah, have you guys heard about Disco Elysium before?
I know
You had to fill me in on that.
Arachnid told us to play it.
Oh, he was telling you guys. You told us to play it.
He said that he recommended it to, I think, me actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the
Okay,
comments.
so you must. So you probably did. Oh, you just okay. In one of the comments you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they launched the Final Cut, and the reason why I ended up getting it, I wouldn't have gotten it had it not been for this. But in the Final Cut, they voice act everything.
Damn.
So in the game before, you'd read, but in this one, everything's voice acted.
All right, can you give me a quick
So
synopsis of
Disco
what Disco
Elysium is like an isometric RPG where like you're not doing anything except walking around and talking to people.
Uh-huh.
So very similar to like
Wasteland? Wastelands?
not Wastelanders, but Wastelands, yeah, or like Divinity Original Sin or like Pillars of Eternity. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know those games or not. Okay, Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
So like a Baldur's Gate, but instead of actually having combat, there's no combat in this one. So it's a combatless isometric
That's weird.
RPG.
Really?
And that was appealing to me actually, because I always found the combat in those games would be a little tedious. Because you had the isometric aspect where you're going through and you're talking to everybody and you're making decisions, and
Right.
that's a big part of like Baldur's Gate and those types of RPGs. But then you have the combat, which are kind of like little tactics,
Yeah.
and they're very intensive combat, and it
Yeah.
was a little bit too much RPG. Because it's a lot of RPG with the talking, a lot of role playing with the talking and the decision making, and then even like twice as much normal RPG aspects as like, Knights of the Old Republic. Like it's very in depth RPG, dice rolling. It just was a little bit too heavy for me.
Sometimes was it turn based also?
Yeah, it's turn based also. So
Because that's what makes like some of the JRPGs and stuff so long. It's just
Exactly.
like that turn based.
So
So imagine,
imagine-
like, damn, you gotta wait for
exactly.
your
Yeah, the
moves. You
encounters
gotta
are
wait
long.
for their moves. Yeah,
and not just
shit
that,
gets
like you're really
daunting.
looking through and
Final
reading
Fantasy, for
things,
sure.
and like as you're fighting, you're reading like these long tool tips and these long things, and
Right.
I don't know. I always wanted one or the other. Like, give me that really in-depth battling and kind of cut out all the person-to-person RPG, or give me a really in-depth role-playing as an individual, talking with people and communicating. And that's what this is. They cut out the combat. And so I really like it. So I know I'm just have to worry about only conversations. And so basically, it's a murder mystery set in the 50s, an alternate reality. So it's not America, this Earth, but an alternate reality, and it's set in their 50s. It's a little steampunky. It's like all hand drawn like watercolor artwork.
Yeah, it looks dope.
It's really, really pretty.
Okay.
It's really beautiful looking, and man, dude, the writing is top notch. Extremely well done writing. Very mysterious. I wake up and I've lost my memory, and I'm a detective, and behind the motel I'm staying at, there's a body hanging from the tree. Go. And like, it's dope. So I immediately walk out. So first of all, I spend 30 minutes just exploring my room, because you're just clicking on things in your room and like dialogue pops up. You might be talking to yourself, or you might hallucinate and talk to your Thai because you've lost your mind,
Okay.
And like, you're picking up things in the room, your jacket, your pants, and you actually have gear you put on, but it's all about just adding to your personality. So maybe adding to your intelligence. Like, you put these glasses on, you get +1 to your visual calculus, right?
Interesting.
Or put this, this jacket on, you got +1 to your rhetoric, right? And that's all it is. So the stats are all about, and I like that. I don't have to worry about like combat stats. I just know these stats are what I want. And you're collecting your gear because you don't know what's going on. Yeah. So just as the character's confused, you're confused. And you walk out of your hotel room and there's like a girl standing there. And so you just go and talk to her and you have this dialogue. And, throughout the dialogue, it's really unique. Like, your stats or whatever will trigger throughout the dialogue. Like, maybe like your logic will trigger when she says something. And
you have a response?
Yeah, but it won't give you like... So you know how oftentimes, like, let's say in Fallout 4 or Fallout 3, you come across a guy and a new option will appear and it'll say, because you have like a charisma of 5, you can instantly convince this guy. It's not quite like that. Sometimes you do have those where like a new choice will pop up based on your stats. But another way your stats work is there'll be like internal thought thinking that will appear on the screen. That will, of course, it's all voice acted, so it just gets read out to you, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And it just gives you insight on how to answer. So like maybe like she'll talk and then there might be a trigger, like a dice roll trigger, and it'll say like medium, and I was a success because mine's high enough. There's like a medium chance of occurring, and I succeeded at it, so it popped up.
Right.
And it'll read off this insight of what she just said, and then it'll give me my 6 or 7 choices to respond, and I'll try to pick the one that lined up with my logic. Right? Gives me like a little
So
insight.
you have to be paying attention to what your character is saying then.
Yeah, but it's all read to you, so you just keep going. It's not like you have... That's why I said this is why I really liked it, because it's all read aloud to me. That's like cool. A book. Right. So I don't have to sit there and like you said, like pay attention and read it, because it's being read to me anyways.
Yeah.
So this is a game where I popped in my headphones, I put them on, and I'm like listening, and I'm just getting involved into it.
Yeah.
And it's just so much fun. And then like you have like these, of course, a new option shows up, and if you have enough of that stat, there's a percentage chance. And it could be low or high. But you can definitely save scum in some instances in this game. Not all, because sometimes you'll have a big, long conversation to get down to that choice. And if you save scum, you'd have to remember the exact path and choices you took every single time to get back to there.
Right.
And that would be a pain in the butt. Like if it's a 10% chance doing that, that would take you an hour if you just want. So you just forget it. You deal with the choices you make. But there are some things you come along, like let's say, for instance, give me an example. Because I'm drunk and I don't know what happened, I lost my memory. I'm walking around the world and I see a coat hanging up on a railing up high on a balcony. And I want that because it's a piece of gear. And so it lets me click on that.
Yeah.
Well, I first had to get up to that balcony. So I eventually found a way up to that balcony.
Is this a PC game?
It was on PC. It's on console now, which is why I got it. It's on PS5. The final Final Cut released on consoles, and it has all the voice acted aspects. So I bought it.
Okay.
And I got up there, and there's my coat, and so I click on the coat, and a trigger popped up where I can do a percentage chance to jump across like the ledge to get it.
Okay.
But you can save scum that. Just like like Fallout, like, okay, I'm about to talk to this guy. I'm going to save it really quick just in case I mess up, right?
So you can back out of it, save it, and then go to your decision.
So it has, and that's actually, in my opinion, that's fun. You can't do it a lot, but sometimes you can. And so it's like, dude, I really want that coat. We've all done it.
Let me roll that dice.
Let me roll that. Let me see if I get it. With when Fallout or any of these games, just save it real quick. And so that's what you can do. But those are kind of rare and few and far between. It's more so like throughout the deep conversations, I'm not going to save scum. But you come across those instances like, okay, I'm going to save it really quick, and I'm going to do this. Or I come across a guy that looks like a pretty important aspect of the game. I save it really quick just in case I feel like the conversation didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
I'll load it up.
What I like about some games, the random encounters and stuff where you would want to do that, like, Fallout or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some games where you'll have like the random encounter, kind of like in Days Gone or whatever. You encounter a person or a horde or something like that, or maybe some wolves or something. But if you happen to save right before then, because you got lucky saving, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go back to my save and I'll do this. Or my checkpoint was just recent, so I'll go back to that. Because it's a random encounter, you're not guaranteed to have that back there at that time.
This
so I
doesn't
kind of
really
like
have
that
too many of
because it's
those.
like, oh, you just happen to spot a jacket, but that jacket was a random encounter.
It may not be there if you load it again. Right.
Right. I kind of like those because it's just a little bit more. It's a little bit more RNG in there.
Or
even
maybe
though
it
it's
was
like,
the
damn,
time
I
of day,
missed out.
or maybe it was the time of day where maybe that random encounter only occurred at night. Like I think in The Witcher had some of those things like that.
Right.
Where you can't really save some things like that.
Yeah.
But this game is just really good. It's so well written. I can't say that enough. It's so beautifully drawn. Everything works. Everything makes sense. I love the mystery because you're solving a murder. So this is what I was playing before I got Ratchet and Clank. And just so you know, heads up, it's on massive sell right now on PSN for like $20-something bucks. Only a $40 game, Disco Elysium.
Okay.
So that's
For
another reason
20
why
bucks?
I got it. 24 or something like that. I don't know the exact price, but in
They
the
got
20s.
a huge sell right
They got
now
a
on
really
PlayStation.
massive sell right now. If you're a PS Plus subscriber, they're doubling the percentage off.
Nice.
So if
Far Cry 5
yeah,
and New Dawn,
Dawn.
those are like $10 a piece, damn near. So
so you should get New Dawn. Anyways, another really cool aspect about it that I really like, which I think is pretty genius, is time does not move unless you're talking. So you have to get through your day, and then you sleep, and then at the end of your day, you recap everything you did that day with your partner, because you have a partner with you who showed up from a different precinct, and you don't know who he is, but he knows who you are, and you've lost your memory. So some of the game is you talking to people to solve this murder. Some of the game is you talking to people to figure out who you were, even to remember your name. Some of the game is trying to get items or money because you need to pay for your rent. Right. Every day you have to pay for your rent. But the cool thing is the game will not move forward in time unless you're talking to somebody. So you cannot help but get stuff done. Like you can't help but get things done because your day won't end until the time goes to the end.
Right. So you got
and you can't move time unless you go talk to people.
So is it kind of like Persona where if you do things, it exhausts how many things you can do in one day cycle?
It partly does, yes. And then there are some things, just like Persona, that you can't do until a later date. Like, come back this day and do it then, right? Like, Persona won't let you do the spa on, like, I don't know, I can't remember, like a Monday.
Yeah.
But if you come back on Friday, you can, but you have to wait until that day. This has things like that, too. Like, come back on Wednesday, and then you can activate this item.
Or come back later.
But the thing is, like, you cannot get to Wednesday unless you talk to people. That's what's a trip about it, right?
Okay.
Like
that's pretty cool.
And you have to talk to like a lot of people because time kind of moves slowly. And so there isn't really any way to move time forward. Of course, there is one way later in the game, which I haven't got there yet, which you can sit on a bench and pass the time on a bench. But right now, so I have to investigate people. I have to talk to people. I have to go to different leads just to pass the time. And it's dope because when the day ends, you go through what you've done. It's like, dang, man, you can't help but have got a lot done today because you spent all that. So you really feel like you did a lot. And I really like that feeling. I like how they lock you into having to do that in a really clever way.
Yeah.
Because that is the game, talking to people. But, you can't move forward unless you do that. And then I'm stumped all the time. I don't know who to go to. Just like in a real, probably like a real detective in a real case, you just don't know where the next lead is. And I'm just like, well, I guess I just start talking to people. And that's really what it is. Just go and talk to people and see what information you can get. And it might lead one thing to another. And so I think it's a really brilliant game. I see why it got like a 96 on Metacritic. I see why it's so high. It's just really brilliant. I don't know if I would have liked it as much had I played the original without all the voice acting. But with the voice acting, it makes it really special.
Nice.
Really special. Because the voice, it's also extremely well voice acted. Very, very well voice acted. And so, definitely one of my favorite games this year. Absolutely one of my favorite games this year, man. Really great stuff.
Nice.
Highly recommend it. Good suggestion, Arachnid, right? That's a good one, man. I really liked it a lot. I haven't finished it yet, but it's on my mind. But other things to play.
Yeah, other things.
Anyways, what you been doing, Godly?
So I know last week we had talked about there being a patch for Biomutant.
That's right.
That was released for
Update
PC.
us on that, man.
So it looks like they released the patch finally for the PC. For the consoles. So of course I have the Xbox version. So I decided I had already beat it. So I wanted to try to verify with you guys how long it could actually take me to beat just the main game.
Oh yeah.
If I was just to go mission to mission and go all the way through. Now obviously I didn't because I got sidetracked with a different game, but I did play past the tutorial, the entrance, of the game where I told you guys it was boring as shit. And this totally changes the way the game starts off. Like before you had to listen to all of the gibberish and stuff before you heard the guy talk. So it's just a lot of speed clicking if you didn't want to hear it. Right. But obviously you're starting the game so you want to hear it, whatever. But in the inventory or in the options menu, you can actually turn gibberish off.
Nice.
Like completely. You can even turn narrator off if you don't want the voice, if you don't like the voice at all.
Just read it.
And you just want the options, you know what I mean? Or you want to just read it and just see the options, you can totally do that. So I got rid of the gibberish and it immediately goes to the narrator talking. So it's like so much faster. And because I already knew the conversations, I was just speeding through it all. But
that's that one little change, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, the enemies that you encounter, yeah.
Okay.
The enemies that you encounter when you're first coming across out of date and some of the new areas and whatnot, they almost all drop something. So there's like an item, like a piece of a gun or something like that you can get.
They increase the drops.
And then there's health and stuff like that. So before, like you just, you would kill these guys and maybe only like the big guy drops something. And you're just kind of like, okay, well, what do I do with this or whatever?
Now it's fun to kill everything.
Yeah, you're getting a lot more things. And then when you go out into the world, it's telling you about the crafting. And you can start crafting. But you obviously can't start crafting unless you have the types of salvage pieces you need to make the items. So you have to find your first full made gun and then start finding some of the towers and things like that to break those down and stuff. But I definitely liked the direction it was going because it just seemed like it was a little bit more smoother. You know what I mean? You were starting to collect a lot more things and you didn't have to like worry about getting to like a certain area, Like I felt like the game didn't really open up until I acquired like my first gun and then started getting salvages. Then it's like,
but this time through it's
sorry. But I was getting more pieces early.
That's really cool.
You know what I mean? So I'm getting like actual gear early, so I'm able to change like my hat and my shirt and my pants and stuff like that. And
see, now you're making me want to play it.
Yeah, so it was a lot.
Before I didn't want to touch it. Now hearing this sounds really good.
Yeah, so it's a lot more faster.
Not that it's a great game, but these sound like really good updates.
Right, yeah.
Really good changes.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely I played that. I don't think I'm just going to restart it again and I don't think I'm going to continue with this save. I think what I'm going to do is go back to playing it but play it at New Game Plus so I can see those updates, instead of having to play the whole game over again. And then I'm going to try to see if I can just do like all the side quests and stuff like that. But they don't give you any of your mounts, so you have to regain all of your mounts again. So that means the boat, the your riding mount, any of the other things that you've got.
That luggage you fly on?
No.
That you get to keep?
Gear.
Oh.
So you get to keep all of your gear and all of the different stats and item, all that stuff that you originally got on your character. You get to keep all of that. You just have to get the storyline stuff, basically, essentially. You know what I mean? The boat, you got to get that storyline boat. The shark, whatever. Right. You got to get all of those things. But that'll be cool to play that. And then plus I'll have the option to play anything. So the second character that I started off with was Deadeye. And basically what the Deadeye, I guess, like talent or whatever allows you to do is to reload your gun quicker. So it's almost like when you shoot all your bullets out, then there's like a timer that slowly
is
replenishes all
quicker.
your bullets until it finishes. But as you're getting close to emptying the clip, like 3-4 bullets left, you can hit RB on the Xbox controller,
And he's
and then
reloading
it's
before.
instantly reloaded, and you can keep on shooting. So it allows you to keep that momentum
Did that make
going
the
and
gun
whatnot.
shooting a little bit more enjoyable? Because I know
Yeah.
that was one of your complaints last time too.
Right, because you know you're kind of like forced to try to use your
And you're
sword
missing a lot of shots.
while
and-
you're
Yeah.
shooting and stuff like that. Also, combat has improved quite a bit as well.
Really?
Because now when you're attacking, your dash is way more precise. Like I'll just be attacking,
So they updated
or
the
I'll
dash?
just be yeah, because your dash will when you press the attack button, it will dash to the closest opponent to attack them. And before it would just kind of, you point towards the direction or whatever, and you may miss you may miss him and go past him or whatever, or be swiping and he's right behind you or something. You got to turn around and keep swiping. If you don't see him, you're probably off. But this one, I was attacking, and sometimes, like, if the dude was not close enough and there's another guy, it's going that way. So it was helping you in combat, almost like, locking on to the guys around you and helping you better with that. So also I noticed that guns do good damage, but the swords do just as much good damage. The sword that I got, I don't know if it was because of the dude that I had or whatever, but that sword was putting in work. It was like up to 400 and something damage. The other guy that I had, the Psylocke one, he only had like a gun up to like 100 and something. So it could be because of the character that I chose.
Wow.
But the
So they
sword
really
was
changed
putting
a
in
lot.
good work. So now don't get me wrong, you might have to try the Psy guy and then see what his starting sword starts off with.
Versus
but
the
if
Deadeye.
it's yeah. But if his sword is still putting in good amounts of damage, you know what I mean, then they definitely fix that. But I like that too, because I was like, I'm shooting with this little handgun and it's doing damage, but it's like, it's taking time. So I run up in there with the sword and I'm
You're
just
like, whoa.
I'm hacking them down, and it's like, okay, damn, this is kind of what it should be, right?
So-
your melee should be your main option,
And your gun
and
secondary.
your
just like
and your
Persona,
range should be
right?
your secondary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nice like that.
So now that you've played the updated version, tell us, what would you have scored this game before the patch, and now what would you score it now after the patch? Because for instance, a lot of these critics, their score is their score.
Right, they don't
Metacritic
go
ain't
back
gonna
to
change
it or anything like that.
even with this new patch, which is why it should be so important that game developers get these little things fixed immediately, because they fix it after and no one hears about it. So let's hear, like, what would you have given it before out of 10 and now out of 10?
So I think before I gave it like a 6.5
6, okay.
or so out of 10. It's just like a so-so game. I know it's
Okay.
stuff there, but it's got some work and things that need to be done. As far as like an update on it from just a little bit that I played, I don't want to give like a solid update score. Once I actually play some more of it, then I'll give you guys like a full updated score on it. But I'd say it at least went up like a 1.5. So I'd say I'd give it like
Close to
at
an
least
8?
a 7.5 or an 8.
Damn.
Just by
That's
increasing
huge.
that thing, because my time is no longer wasted.
Right. That's
You
big,
know what I
man.
mean?
That's
Like,
so big.
I'm able to keep moving. Like, I was tired and
Yeah.
I was feeling sleepy just playing it in the opening. Like,
bet.
I'm supposed to learn everything, and I'm like, I'm not seeing shit. I don't even know when crafting came into effect until I had got the damn gun. Because I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this shit? I saw it this time. Like, I don't know if I was like paying attention more or whatever, but I saw something come up saying you can now do crafting.
Because you're finding
and
stuff
you
immediately
click this and
you're
go
getting
in
all
there
this
and
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they fix
so-
the PlayStation 5 performance yet? Is it
Oh, I don't know if it's 4K yet.
yet?
I don't think it's
Oh, yeah.
4K. I don't think they increased that yet.
Got you.
But yeah, so I mean, as far as like the gameplay and stuff, like I already told you that some of the side quests and things like that were kind of cool because of some of the gear you got. I told you guys some of the things you could get, right? Like the floating briefcase,
Yeah.
the helicopter backpack that you can get, and you can beeline it over there if you have enough resistance to heat. You can head straight over there and then do it, so that you can get those things throughout the rest of the game. if you wanted to. You can beeline it anywhere, which
Nice.
is great about an open world game, right?
Yeah.
You can go anywhere.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
see that there's something over there, or you know
Yeah.
something's over there, you can head over there.
Yeah.
You might have to do some chain of events, but that part,
Just like
you
Breath
can
of the
head
Wild.
right over there,
Yeah.
right? Just like Breath
You
of
can
the Wild.
see it, you can go there. Yeah.
Right. So I would definitely recommend that if it's on sale. I don't know if it is on sale or not, if it's gone down any price. But I would say you should get it because it's definitely a fun game. There's a lot of shit that you can do in it. The abilities and whatnot for like the psi abilities, they're pretty cool.
Or if you gave up on it, try
the
again.
different ways. Yeah, if you did give up on it, put it back in and try this out. But, I think it's a fun game. It seems like there's a lot of little shit to collect, a lot of different ways that you can make your character, have some cool stuff on or whatever. I definitely did decide to try to go a different route with the gameplay because I went all bad.
Oh, you're going all good now.
And eventually, I guess I could have a spoiler talk with you guys if either of you guys play it or whatever. But I decided to go light on this one. And so, the choices, it seems like the game wants you to go good anyways.
Most
like you
games
have
do
to
that.
literally go
Most games
against the
do
grain
that,
to
yeah.
go bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of things that are still repetitive, and I don't think they'll ever fix that because that's just the way the game goes.
Right.
So I would have liked for that to be changed, which is why I can't give it like
Better than
a
an
9
8. It's like max,
or something
right?
like that.
8
But
is
yeah,
max,
I think 8 would be like max.
I bet you it would have been much closer to an 8 had those few changes you're talking about
Yeah.
been implemented.
If I had been
immediately.
introduced to these
right
from the gate,
I'm
what I
talking
mean?
about even the critics too who rated this game.
Yeah.
It would have really helped their sales, I bet.
Yeah,
Those
I
little
mean
things.
they had issues with the combat and stuff like that too, and some other little
the
things
slow
that I was seeing
dialogue,
and
time to
whatnot.
kill. Yeah,
But yeah, that was like my biggest pet peeve was that I wish that they would have had
That's
more voice
nuts.
actors, but I
remember when
understand
you
you gotta
told me that, I
do
just
what you
was-
gotta do. But
It's really hard to
blown
believe
away.
that they did all these fixes so quick,
Mm-hmm.
within a couple weeks of the game coming out.
yeah, like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's pretty impressive because, when we hear all these delays, whether it be 1 month or a couple months, sometimes in our head we're like, trying to see, is it worth the delay?
Yeah.
But it seems like, if they would have delayed this game a month,
just a month.
they could have maybe got decent returns on that,
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
for
glad
sure.
it worked out for Biomutant for sure.
Yeah, I'm just glad that they had people that were at least active with it, right? You know what I mean? Like
Quick.
they were there to do it. I mean, I don't know what, like, obviously, I don't know if you guys have been following Cyberpunk at all, but like there's been more issues than just like the basic front stuff that they were giving us. Like there's a lot of issues there over at CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk that we just we hear little tidbits of every now and again. So it does not seem like this game should have came out back in 2020, right?
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
It
Should've
seems
waited
like
one more
it
year.
should have came out in 2022, honestly. As much stuff as they're trying to fix and the different things that are coming out, it just seems like 2022
Dude, man,
should
they
have
had
been.
investors
when they
crying
came out.
crying for their returns.
Man, that's one of those issues when you
Such a
when you go
shame, dude.
public. You know what I
Such a
mean?
shame.
Like, and you got other people determining how this business that you help grow or whatever that you've been
Yeah.
working in for so long it is to go. It's just like, damn, this isn't right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have those issues with work. The higher ups,
Yeah.
they want a certain time frame that you have to hit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, but this should be done here. Like it should not. We should not move on and push this
Right.
off. It's gonna get worse.
Right.
But I guess you gotta. I mean, I
Sucks.
guess they're up there, right? So they gotta take the hits for it, whatever decisions that they forced upon the rest of the team. So it
true.
is what it is.
Yep,
But
yep.
I still think that Cyberpunk is a great game,
Yeah.
and I think that Biomutant is a fun game. I just think that you should probably wait and just get it, on a budget price. You know what I mean? Not paying 60, but I think that 40 is a solid price for this game. I think 40 is definitely a
It
solid
probably
price.
should have been what they charged out the gate was 40.
Right. I mean,
And it would have been really
especially
well,
for them
would've sold
being
well.
an indie studio.
Yeah.
And there's a lot in the game, and the game has great qualities of it. but you know, it's still it's an indie studio.
And you can see the indie touch to it. I'm sure it's not quite as polished here and there, right?
Yeah. I mean,
And
you
with
see
how
that
short it
with
is.
adding
And
one
then how short
narrator.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
You see that with adding one person talk for everything. That's like something indie style. I
sure,
don't think that would happen with any
I'm sure it's
AAA
going to be
game.
even shorter now, right? There's the gibberish. If you turn off gibberish, narration, all that stuff.
Oh, the game will be even
Yes.
shorter.
It's
Yeah.
probably even
The
an hour
gibberish
quicker
added
now.
3 hours.
But I mean, you know,
At least.
it literally all boils down to your luck of the rolls. Because as I said, once you get a certain weapon, like my weapon that I got fairly early on was like up to 1,000 damage, and it was a fast shooting gun. So after that, it was wraps for anything that I came across. You know what I mean? Or any gun actually. You know, like once I got all the pieces, as long as I could get up to 1,000 damage, everything was
Nice.
getting X'd out.
Nice.
So it's really about like how much luck do you have. And so when I started my second character, I just put my guy as max vitality, and then I just every point I've been dumping into to luck. So to chance or whatever.
Interesting.
So that
well,
just
and
means
now with
that,
more things dropping,
right.
the
So
luck matters more.
anytime
Yeah.
that I open up, you know, I go into an area and there's a superb loot crate,
or if you
I've
kill
got a
things
good
now,
chance that
yeah.
it can be a legendary piece that's giving me like 4 or 5 stars. You know what I mean? And it might be a weapon piece that I can add on, you know, a new base or something like that. That's just a heavy hitter. And those are the game changers. So it's like you get one weapon and then you just keep modifying that weapon to make it better, you
neat.
know, and just running across all
That's
of the
neat.
salvage stuff. So if at any point in time, you know, because I'm playing a new game, if you guys want to borrow it or whatever, you guys are more than welcome to. If
I
you
do
guys
want to
aren't
play it.
playing
I
that
do want
new
to play it
game,
this summer. Yeah.
but you know, that's definitely, I think you guys should play it. And I definitely recommend if you can get it for like $40. You know what I mean? I got mine for 45. I did
Sounds
not
like
get
it.
it for the 60. So if you could get it for around,
Yeah.
you know, that 45 price
Yeah.
or whatever, I think it's totally worth it
Yeah.
with that. You know, it's definitely not a $70 game, but,
Mm-hmm.
and it's barely a $60 game. But if you can get it for like, you know, even 50, I'd say is pretty decent.
Right.
You know, if you could get it at Target for 50, you know what I mean? That's a good deal.
Yeah, Amazon had it for 50 for, I don't know if it still is, but Amazon
they?
had it for 50.
Okay.
And
Oh, they probably had it like pre-order
it's sounding
stuff, right?
now like it might be more so worth 50.
Yeah.
40 is where you want it.
Right.
You feel really good about 40.
Mhm.
But it sounds like you're not going to be mad anymore if you're going to pay 50 for it. So
Yeah, no.
I'm happy to hear the updates were really good.
Yeah.
That makes me want to play it.
Yeah,
Makes
for
me
sure.
wanna Play it. But there is another game we've all been waiting to play. The big coup de grace.
Another heavy hitter.
Ratchet and Clank, A Rift Apart. And yes, we have played it. Gali and I have played this.
For sure.
So let's dive right in, man. What are your thoughts?
With
Where
our
are you at?
first impressions.
Yeah, these are our impressions. We both put about 4 hours into the game.
Yeah.
Those are our 4-hour impression. It's a good chunk. And the game just came out yesterday, so we played it last night. Got as much time as we could in, right?
Yeah.
And where are you at, man? What do you think?
Well, first off, before we start that, I wanted to ask you, did you pre-order the game?
I pre-ordered it.
Okay, and you pre-ordered from like GameStop or something? Yeah. Okay. So
I went in Wednesday. Pre-ordered
okay.
it.
Oh, okay, like right
So
before.
right before.
Yeah.
And I only because the reviews had dropped, everything had dropped. Because I don't like pre-ordering either.
Right.
But once
it got really
really
good
great
scores.
reviews, like okay, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna go and pre-order, make sure I get one.
Right.
sure.
So I tried to go into this without getting seeded any ideas or intent of how good it is or whatever from any other reviewers. I just wanted to just go in this raw and then just have, you know, my ideas about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of being swayed by somebody else's score or something. But I had been hearing on Twitter that it was a little hard to get the game in some areas. Like, you know, some people, it was just running out. Like, you couldn't grab it or whatever. But I went over to my local Best Buy, and they actually had one copy left
copy
on the
dude.
shelf.
Nice.
And so I was like, damn, okay, well, you know, let
They
me
had
go ahead
one
and
copy
get
left,
this.
or they only had one copy.
One left.
I think they had one left. I didn't
okay,
ask how
okay.
many they had sold or
That'd be
anything
crazy.
like that.
That would really
but
be like
that'd
a
be
shortage, right? Wow, one
Yeah.
copy only
right.
at a Best
so,
Buy.
so I was actually able to get it, pop it in, and play it. And I wanted to ask you, like the first like intro and everything, like how did you feel about, you know, going into the game?
You mean how the game started, or how I
Yeah.
felt before I even played it?
Like you know, like going into it before you actually like did anything, like, you know, starting it up, the video, of the intro and all of that stuff. How'd you feel about it?
Before I
how'd you think it
played
looked?
anything?
Yeah,
before I pulled the trigger?
Yeah, before you pull the trigger. Because, you got to watch all the cutscenes and different things like that.
Yeah, I don't even really know if I remember the opening cutscenes very much.
No?
I just remember... How did the opening cutscenes start? It started...
So it's like a parade for...
Right.
Well,
that
no,
was a
it's not a
battle.
It's not a parade. Yeah. It starts off with a Lombax, and somebody is getting they're trying to get information.
Right.
From
I see
enemy.
what you're saying. Yeah, and she sneaks and she grabs the spy bot.
Right.
And she runs off and she has that, right? And she saves the one and she
gets
captured.
The person.
Yeah. That was cool. I thought that was a pretty neat little Pixar little flick movie opener right there.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't too bad. It definitely wasn't like I wasn't jaw struck by it. I wasn't enamored by it, but I was fine with it.
Yeah. I was a little
okay. It was a little bit of a bit to get into the start of before I can control something.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. It set a little bit of a stage of what's going on here.
Yeah,
the world.
I kind of thought it was interesting that they would start off with the Lombax that they started off with.
Right.
Because I would think that it would revolve around
Ratchet,
the main person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they started off with Rivet. So it's just like, oh, okay. It almost seems as if Rivet might hold a little bit more weight in this story than Ratchet would. But, because
they
they're
seem
like the
really
opening
equal so far. But
they do seem pretty equal, but it just seemed weird that you would start off the game with you see the person in the costume and you're like, oh, that's obviously Ratchet, what's going on, and it's not Ratchet.
I knew it wasn't Ratchet because I knew that world that Lombax was in wasn't the normal Ratchet world.
Oh, okay. I mean, I looked at
world,
the glove, and then the glove kind of told me that it was something different.
Oh, okay. I just know I was like, this clearly isn't Ratchet. This is the other one they're introducing.
Right.
And I think they might have done that. Maybe it was because she has a larger role, or maybe it's because they want to introduce you to her.
Yeah,
because she's brand new, and they just wanted to make sure you get acquainted early with her.
Yeah.
And so they did it that way and let her know what her deal is. She's a freedom fighter, whatever, just like Ratchet, a hero. Mm-hmm. And so I was fine with it. I'll tell you what I really love. I mean, there's lots to say here. First of all, I'll say I'm pretty in love with this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I'm not understating that. I'm not over-exaggerating that. This is really cool. This is what I really would have wished, in my opinion, Returnal would have been, which is one reason why I wanted to bring Returnal. I didn't know you played it yet, but I wanted to let you guys play it, and even you, because now you've played Ratchet, and I wanted to see how they compare. Because in my opinion, they have very similar combat.
With shooting,
like it's
right?
both like the reticle, and like you're not zooming in as third person, and you're shooting the things, and projectiles are falling at you. Not as many as Returnal, so it's it's not a bullet
it's not as
hell.
intense or whatever. Yeah.
And the boss fights that I came across, which are boss fights like Returnal, he's shooting a bunch of missiles are coming at you, but it's not as many. They're not nearly as awesome as Returnal's boss fights, but just the general overall feel of shooting feels very similar to Returnal, and I prefer this more than Returnal because the weapons, they're throwing weapons at you in this game.
Yeah,
like really cool weapons. They're just like, here's a new one. Now you try that one. Now you try that one. And you can upgrade them immediately. And of course, I love the feeling of progression. And so I feel like everything I do, I'm getting further and further in the game. Everything I do, my guns are getting better.
Yeah.
This game is just so beautiful. I can't stress enough how pretty it looks.
I kind of feel like it's like a slight breath of fresh air as far as like a game. Just because, okay, so disclaimer, I've only played like one Ratchet and Clank game, and I played it for like a short period of time. So I'm not like a huge fan of Ratchet and Clank. I literally just got it because I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. It's a brand new PS5 game. It's one of their heavy hitters.
PS5
that
you have, like a third PS5 game.
Yeah, they don't really have that many, that's out, and then it's supposed to be a heavy hitter. You know, it's not like an indie or anything like that.
It's the big one,
right? So, but I kind of found it like relieving that it's not intense. Like I'm not, fearing for my life, on every move. Like I can just have fun with it. You know what I mean? Yep. Like I jump and I miss a jump, because I did too much or I did too little. I die and I respawn right where I was at and I start again, and whatever. And then, I keep trying like, there's certain things that I came across like in the first city or whatever, and you're trying to traverse it. I was trying to like collect all of the little items that's on the map that you can see.
Same.
And so like there's certain areas where you had to do certain things to get there, like you're using the moon boots, the wall or whatever that you can wall run. I didn't know how to use that, and I guess I hadn't gotten to that point in the story where I unlocked it.
Oh yeah.
So I was trying to get to those areas, and I'm like, damn, I can't even do that. I kept just dropping and dying, and I'm like, I see the moon boot things, but this looks like the same
see,
wall.
That's funny.
But
The first time I came across that was when I was doing the little side mission to grab the spy bot.
Yeah.
And I came across one of those walls, and he spoke to me.
And he told you.
He said, I don't have an ability that can get me there yet. He says that. I don't know if you're listening. But
no, I didn't.
I came across one of those wall runs, and he's like, it's too far for me to jump. I can't get there yet. He says that.
Okay.
And
no,
I was like, okay, clearly there's an item I got to get. And I left, and I kept going on with that section.
That's cool.
So that's why I didn't fall into that trap. But yeah.
But there's like, it's funny because like you can kind of, the world is stacked in a sort of way that you can kind of find other routes around the basic route. Like for instance, there's like a building for a gold bolt. That's, I guess you have to do like a wall run and then jump and then just glide down to a platform and then you'll be on top of like the roof to get there. Okay, so I didn't get it that way because I didn't have the wall run thing yet.
Okay.
So basically what I did was, I had the wall run, but I couldn't remember where to go to the wall run platform to get there. So all I knew was my map was showing me there's a gold bolt over there. So basically I had gotten the dash, and so I climbed up on some boxes in the middle of the town, and then I climbed on the roof, and then I jumped from one roof to the next roof over to another roof where it was closer to an edge that was like a rooftop, because like you can go around the bottom and then go down the stairs, but the roof is up there and the bolt is up there on that same level. It's just got things in the way. So I decided to double jump and then dash and then glide over to the rooftop.
You landed on it,
So then I got over to the rooftop, and then I basically climbed on top, got on top of the building perch, like an extra perch or whatever that was on the roof. And then I double jumped and then dashed and glided onto this slim edge on a building that actually had a small lip. You could pass it up and then go in, and it was like a gaping hole, and you could fall down. But I was able to land right on the ledge.
Did you have the glove yet at this time?
I had the glove, but I didn't know where the wall run was at, so I didn't know how to get over there. I thought this was like you had to craft your way over there.
Up,
so I get up there, and then I'm like, okay, so I finally made it up there. I had to do 2 attempts to get up there because I missed the first one, and I dropped all the way down because I went past it. But when I got up there, all I had to do was double jump, dash, and then glide, and then boom, I was on the roof. I scooped up the gold bolt.
I look at it a little different than you. Like, yeah, I agree. I hear what you're saying. Like, it's very vertical, and you feel like you can go a lot of places.
Yeah,
there's a lot of verticality.
There's a lot of edges and stuff you can jump on.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, and you can like. Have you ever had an instance where like you get stuck between a crack and you're like floating, like you're falling?
Yes,
that's annoying. That's a little bug. But anyways, I just kind of stop and I just look around. Like just kind of look around everywhere. And I saw the little arrows for the wall run. And I was like, oh, there is a path.
So you had to go,
there's a hidden
went
path.
Around and looked.
So I just kind of took a moment and I just kind of looked around. And I saw a path. And that's like, okay, I know how to do that. I went over there, followed that path, jump. I got the bolt.
Yeah, see, I knew that it was at that opening area where you came in at. I just couldn't remember how to get to that opening area.
That's just so funny, bro.
To get over
hilarious.
there. So I ended up finagling away. And then I was like, at first I didn't know that was the area that it was leading me to. And so I looked and I was like, okay, let me explore the area and see how you could actually get over here or if that was the way. And then I saw the wall running thing. I was like, oh, okay, but like I can't even reach that because it's so high up.
Yeah, but just to bring back like the game and its mechanics, I really love that feeling of exploration.
Yeah.
And this game definitely has that. And I really love how it's so rewarding. Like going around every corner, every nook, you're finding
some boxes
rare
or
titanium or whatever. You're finding so much fun things to collect that I'm like addicted to like running around looking. I might find a rift and I can break it and I can go into little secret zone.
The pockets,
and
the dimensional
little
pockets.
dimensional pockets.
Yeah.
And like you're just so rewarded for hunting. And like going back to that description of like breath of fresh air, like I definitely felt that way. Like, yes, this game does in a lot of ways feel like a game we've all played before.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the standard, shooting and running,
Smash
and
the
jumping
boxes,
and smash
smash
boxes
the
and
enemies,
hit things.
platform jump.
Very similar to what we've all played a game like this before. All of us have, but it's so polished, it's so pretty, it's so entertaining, it's so well done that it feels like, gosh, this is really what I've wanted to play for so long. And it feels so good. And like we've been getting like a mess of games that are very like dark and scary, like Resident Evils, Returnals, difficult, punishing, games that are like this. And like to get a game like this, like you mentioned, like feels really good. It's so much fun. I've loved every minute of it. Mm-hmm. I think they handled the switching between the two Lombax is so much better than I think The Last of Us handled it.
Yeah.
Because it's a perfect seamless swap. Everything is swapped. Everything.
Okay.
Every item, every upgrade, every coin. So everything you're doing on one is perfectly transferred to the next one seamlessly without any change.
But what I was going to ask you, though, is if you liked that. So apparently you like that.
I like it.
But I was kind of a little disappointed because when you look at Ratchet, right, he's got both of his arms and he's always been a shooter with his wrench. But this girl is supposed to have like something new incorporated with her, with like her glove. Like she's got like a robotic arm or something like that, like a prosthetic arm. So I felt like, so when you go into the game, there's like this woman creature or whatever that sells you things. She's like the merchant. And so you can buy like all kinds of weapons there. So like one of the first weapons they have is like some type of a glove that allows you to throw like a little bomb. It's called like the shatter bomb or something like that. But that I felt should have been like a weapon for the female Lombax Rivet because of her gun her glove aspect. I felt like it should have been slightly different. Like, like you get something extra for having her. See,
what I hear that perspective, but for me, I don't like it only because I want to use it. I don't want to have to wait until it's Rivet's point, or, I don't know her name.
Rivet.
Is that her name? Oh,
yeah.
Until it's Ratchet and Rivet. Until it's Rivet's portion of the game to play with that gun or that glove. I want to just, when I unlock it, I want to use it. And so I like that I don't have to wait around to try to use some talents or some abilities with one Lombax versus the other. Like I just have it all. I like how it really just is story focused. So the only real reason to swap is to experience a whole new zone, a whole new world, a whole new environment, all new enemies, a new storyline. I like that. To me, I prefer that.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like I was playing another character at that point. You know what I mean? It just seemed like I continued the story with the same character.
Continuing the story.
So that's the only thing. Is like if you're gonna give me a male and a female character, and they fight or they look slightly different or whatever, but they look very similar. But I would have liked to have a slight combat adjustment, just so that I know, I'm playing with the female.
I would have rather it been like in the mechanics of the character rather than the guns and stuff. I would have rather have been like, maybe she can like triple jump, or maybe she can like
different
dash,
style of jump or something.
or maybe she has a different melee weapon. Maybe she whips.
Or her gear looks
anything
different.
that I buy.
Her gear is the same stuff.
Or
that
her gear looks different. Like I can agree with you on that. That give me some other type of mechanic when it's her turn.
Yeah.
But I do like how everything I've purchased I can keep using.
Yeah,
that would have pissed me the F off. I just got done spending 2.5 hours with Ratchet, and then I get into Rivet, and I have to start over again. That would have the same feeling I had when I had to switch to Abby in Last of Us is the same feeling I would have had here. So like I was super happy to see that, but I can agree with you that it doesn't feel like you're playing someone new apart from the story.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have wanted to like restart everything and level up, but I just wish it was just something just a little bit more that changed the way I had to play it because it was a different character.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, I didn't think the little dimensional portals where you pull yourself are that big of a deal. Because they're toting the whole PS5.
Yeah.
Or like when you fought the one boss that threw you into another dimension. It's like this is just another arena. It felt gimmicky.
So
it felt gimmicky to you.
I felt like the rifts, the small rifts where you could just pull yourself closer to that area. It never took you into a new area. You could see it. Right. You could see it afar. You could drag yourself to it. I felt like those were kind of gimmicky, just like another way of using a grappling hook, or even in the game they have swinging things. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, why don't you just put rifts everywhere instead of swinging from something? Just add a rift, just beam me over there. But I thought that the little pockets. The pocket dimensions were
the
cool.
hidden
because,
rooms. Yeah, those were cool.
Right, because you could go in there and it's like
and
a whole bunch
item.
of stuff going on, and you just literally have to traverse, platform it through, and then there's an item at the end of it. So those are cool to hunt and find for the items that's in there. I thought
like that that boss fight.
Yeah,
where he throws you into another dimension as you're fighting, and as his phases hit.
Right.
That was a gimmicky to me.
I was a little disappointed in that, and then in the footage when you were sitting there going through all the different dimensions.
Yeah.
Because it was generated. Like it was all scripted. You didn't have a chance to maneuver your dragon that you were sitting on the back of, or you didn't have a chance to like jump off of the race path and then like go through the world and search that world. You know what I mean? Like you were stuck. Like you couldn't just hop off and then, and just like find your way back in there, because you're like chasing after somebody. So they're just showing you. So it's kind of like, it's just an image. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
like
just
I was
seeing
feeling
yourself
the same way. Like they talk about how this is like a great test to the solid state drive of the PS5.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think they could have been creative and done these exact same things on a PS4. Like that could have just been a cutscene. Because you couldn't interact or do anything, that could have just been a cutscene that they put into the PS4 version, and you experienced it. And even the parts where you pull yourself, a grappling hook that's like just a grappling hook mechanic. You're still in the same world. The world didn't change.
Yeah.
So like,
even
these things I think could have been done on a PS4.
Even the pocket dimensions just seem like it would be a door.
That would be
exactly.
Open, that
like you could walk through, and it's just like a bigger room.
Like in the developer kit or whatever, you just have it. It's part of the map.
Yeah.
You just got to break a wall. How's it any different than breaking a wall and you're in a secret room now?
Right.
I don't see how it's any different than that. So I feel like I was sold a little bit of a
wow factor or something.
A bag of goods that isn't exactly. I was sold something different than what they told me it was. A little bit. Not to say that I love it, but these are some of the complaints I have about it.
Yeah.
That I just feel like I've been sold a bag of goods that wasn't quite exactly what they told me it would be.
Also, there's a lot of rifts that open up that you just cannot you can't touch. Like they have no point except for a visual effect.
Oh yeah,
like when you were fighting a rift. Yeah, you see a rift back there in the distance, or like when you're fighting a boss, when you were fighting that first boss or whatever, and the rifts are popping up and enemies are coming out. Right. But you could not run and jump in through the rift.
Right.
The enemies that came there literally made it so you could not jump through it, because they would like attack you before you could even get in. Even if you jumped over them, you still got hit and had to push back. Like, so it seems like there's some areas where the rifts are just for show. Absolutely. And then there's other areas where, there's pocket dimensions behind them or something like that. But I would think it would be much cooler if like the random rifts, because like when you're in the world, like random rifts just appear. Like all over the place.
Yeah, it would have been dope.
Times. Like, it would be cool if you could access any of them.
You can jump into them.
Yeah, like one happens to pop up like ground level or just a little bit off the ledge, but you could jump in there. Yeah, you know what I mean, and have access to it. That would be dope.
Yeah,
but but as we're still saying, the game is
good.
Fun.
It's so good.
It's great.
I'm really in love with it. I can't wait to play it some more.
So it sounds like you guys agree with the Metacritic score. I think it was in the high 80s.
It's 89 on Metacritic.
Damn, I'm sorry.
I think
we should hit a 90 would have been a 9. I think 90 would be right where. So like it's just shy of where I think it should be. It's really good. Like it's okay. I played some of the original Ratchet and Clank on the PS4, the remake for the PS4.
Right.
And that one was much slower to get going. This one, you're immediately
in action,
dude. Immediately, and like they don't stop.
Yeah,
like it feels really, really good. You're constantly fighting. The fighting feels so fun.
Even the opening tutorial scene, or whatever, where in the parade where you're sitting there getting each of the, you're given like almost 3 weapons to choose from.
Yeah, right at the start.
And you're able to just play with all those and shoot and stuff.
The one I played, you probably remember too. It just they give you like the worst little pea shooter. It's like very slow, and you have like your axe, and it's just not fun.
Right.
This felt so fun. Like it felt like Returnal, but with like a little easier, and with no restarting.
A lot easier.
And it's a feast for the eyes, man. Like even that first opening scene when you're at the parade, I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just so incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, Clank looked good,
Dude.
man. I was like, dude, man, these
ray tracing is
characters look
sick.
good as
You're doing
hell.
the performance rate
Oh,
RT.
hell yeah, performance RT.
Dude, it looks so good. I mean, because
I don't even need to look at the visual.
I don't need the
one.
4K either because my television's upscaling it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like to me, I think it might be the prettiest game I've seen. Until they make the 4K 60 frames Last of Us 4.
Yeah.
Last of Us Part 2, I think this is the prettiest game I've seen on any console.
I mean, I was playing it, last night, and I had it on my projector. And, the projector.
I was curious how the projector would look.
They won't show everything as great
pretty,
as, like, what a superb 4K TV would do or whatever. But, man, this shit looked beautiful. I was like, damn. I was telling my wife, hey, look at this shit.
You're telling your wife?
Yeah,
it's so pretty.
Look at this. This looks good. And it's on the wall. It's like, it's projected. You know what I mean? It's not on, like, an OLED TV screen or anything like that.
Like, it is. It's
like,
substantially
damn.
better than the Ratchet on the PS4.
Yeah.
It's so pretty. I was just like, when he first walked out, Ratchet, on the stage, and you had the people cheering, he's about to start.
I'm seeing all the hair.
Yeah, every little hair follicle on
seeing his nose. You seeing like little.
I was
like on a dog's nose. The little divots and stuff like that.
It does. Texture. It really helps with that initial immersion, that initial feeling of like awesomeness this game is.
Yeah.
Like even if the gameplay didn't quite reach some level, like because of how beautiful it is, I can't stop playing it. But the gameplay does reach it. I mean, I'm having so much fun. I can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah, for sure. I as soon as I get a chance to today, I'm playing it. But
yeah, hopefully I get it in the mail today because I definitely want to take it for a spin.
You're gonna like it, Mark.
I
really like it,
actually this week I did fire up the freebie Ratchet and Clank that we got.
Yeah,
okay.
Just because I wanted to I haven't played a Ratchet and Clank
Ratchet,
since PS3. My buddy let me borrow it, or I don't know. I played one on PS3, but I got turned off from it really quick.
There's like 5 Ratchet and Clanks now, right?
Yeah,
I don't know how many there are.
I think so.
There's a PS2 one. I know it's on PS2.
Yeah,
It goes back
a long
way.
There's quite a few.
PS3, yeah. So I think so.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to try it out. It sounds really good from what you guys are saying.
Dude,
Yeah,
really
it's definitely like it makes me want to like look through the rest of the map. Like, I was kind of like finding things. You find a lot of things.
So you said there's those gold bolts, right?
Yeah.
Because I know in the PS4 one that I was playing, there was those too. And you use those to unlock like a lot of cool permanent features for the game.
Yeah, like so basically,
it's interesting how
I
these
found
work.
one gold bolt. So when you smash boxes, little screws fall out.
Yeah.
I found one gold bolt. He did too. That it let me change what the bolts fall out as. And there was like 6
really
choices.
dope.
And I changed mine to rupees. One of them was rupees, like
that's
from
cool for India.
Zelda.
Like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And dude, it made it so much better. That one little thing like made it so much better because I don't know about you, but when the bolts fly out, I can't really see them. I see like
They're
a big
so
pile
tiny.
of them,
Yeah.
but when they're spread out, like I'll just be running. It's like, oh, and all of a sudden, it's like, dude, I didn't even know those were there.
Yeah.
But dude, with the rupees, I
can
know
see
where
them.
they're all at.
Nice.
So I'm going and I'm not missing any of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I changed
That
mine
one
to
little
like
change
gold
helped.
coins or whatever, and gold coins are a lot more bigger.
They're thick,
than
right?
that,
Large,
and so you're able to collect them. You see them a lot better on the map. I gotta try the rupees thing and see how it is, but yeah, it's cool because like there's also customization. So if you bought it day one or probably for a while now, I don't know when they'll stop, but it says launch edition on it, and they give you 3 pieces of armor, so a head, chest, legs.
No bonus on
And
them
then,
though. They're just
yeah.
aesthetic.
It's just for looks.
But you found the one headpiece, right?
Yeah. I got one headpiece.
And you can see that has a bonus on it. If you have
Wait,
all
are you
3
talking
of those,
about the mask?
It's a headpiece. It's a headpiece.
I don't know if I haven't found the second headpiece. All I found was the mask addition to it that allows you to be less detectable by the enemy or something like that. Like
when you
it's
go to
that
your
visor
gear,
that Rivet originally
yeah, that's
had
the
on her.
mask.
Yeah.
That's a new headpiece.
Okay.
If you go to your gear,
Well,
it's
just
a
an
whole new
attachment.
row. No, it's not an attachment. It's a new it's a new set collection.
Yeah, so you have your regular mask, and then these are add-ons that you put onto your mask. So it's your original headpiece, and then that second bar that you were saying is like things that you can change.
Are you
and it
talking
just
about
adds it on.
the downloadable content as your original mask?
Yes.
No, that's not an original mask. That's a helmet.
Yeah, a helmet, and then the mask it's like a visor update or something like that.
No, they're all new helmets. You're not changing that original DLC piece. Not everyone gets that. No, not everyone gets that DLC piece.
Okay, well, I know that there's like 3 there, and there's a
When
thing,
I
but
look,
I'll have to
when
look
I
and
put
see
it on,
how
it was a
selects
completely
it.
different looking helmet.
Oh, well, I know the face. The face is what changed
Yeah, but
for
the
me. But I
ears
thought
and
the back
everything
was the same.
changed.
Okay, I'll have to look
All
at it a little
different
bit
looking.
more.
Doesn't match the set.
Okay.
It's a new set. There's gear sets you can collect in this game. And the gear pieces themselves don't do anything for you. But when you collect all 3 of them, you have a bonus.
Set bonus. Yeah.
But the problem is the free one they give you, the DLC set they give you, has no bonus.
Just for looks.
It's just aesthetic, yeah.
But you're able to.
It's cool looking,
to
though.
change like colors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
of
you
the
can change
gear,
the
Well,
color.
you
at
know,
least
to
it's
do
not like
whatever.
OP. At least it's not like what is it? Assassin's Creed.
Well, I was actually, you're right.
the
I was
Assassin's Creed
that's
gear
exactly
you
what
get
I
that you
thought.
never
I was
wanna
like,
get rid of.
great, dude. When I see this bonus, I'm just gonna stick with this bonus for the rest of the game, huh? But there's no bonus,
That's
so
good.
you're
That's
gonna
good.
switch. You're gonna switch it up eventually.
Yeah,
what's up.
for
So-
sure.
Good stuff.
So yeah,
Good
so
stuff.
Try it out.
Real happy
Hey,
with it.
But are you guys done talking about
yeah, we're done talking about Ratchet.
I forgot. So last week, I fired up The Last of Us. I forgot to tell you guys.
Oh yeah, finally, huh?
So I did like the first 3
Anthony G
sections.
can get off your back now.
Yeah, so I did like the first 3 chapters. I looked up how long the game was. You know, I didn't look up a spoiler, but I was
Yeah.
like, okay. So I finished up to chapter 3.
Okay.
So I finished chapter 3. So I'm sorry on chapter 4. So far, the game, in my opinion, it starts kind of slow.
Okay.
Maybe during the era, because the game looks breathtaking for a freaking PS3.
It is a slower
This is a
game. 'cause
PS3
you're trying to
game.
get
Even
your
on a
bearings.
PS5,
It's a
I'm like,
PS3 game,
damn,
bro.
this game looks good.
It's a PS3 game, man.
So it starts slow, despite there's a lot going on. But to me, it starts a little slow.
Yeah.
But when you start getting into the story, and then you find, there's a part where I guess you kind of get like captured by these guards, and then they scan you guys to see if you guys have the virus or whatever, and then you find out the little girl, what's her name?
Ellie.
Ellie.
When you find out, she's like, oh yeah, I've been bitten 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, but it doesn't
And they're
affect
like,
me.
what?
And then I'm like, that's
whoa.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then when you go to like the gas areas and the fungus gas, she's just like all chill, like
Particles and shit floating
I'm like,
around.
You gotta
Yeah.
put the
Good
helmet
with it.
on.
yeah. So the story is very intriguing,
Mm-hmm.
and the NPCs, I like how they talk, because I think when I got to that area, I think I'm playing as Joel.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa, like, he makes a comment about it, she's like,
That's what we were talking
She's
about.
all
How like the
nonchalant.
game does a great job.
No, yeah.
Making it feel like that's how you would respond if
Yeah.
you were in that same
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
situation.
You're
You
It's
just
so
play it through a
authentic.
movie, man.
Yeah, it's
You
so
just watch
authentic.
it.
like, and I like how there's some customizations. Like I discovered the workbench finally, so I'm like upgrading my guns. I'm like, ooh, this is cool.
Yup.
Upgrading my, trying to see what's the best stat. I'm like, probably clip, because it's kind of hard to find bullets in that
Yeah.
game. So you have to be at first.
Yeah. You gotta be
I
careful
was
with your ammo.
trying to just kill everything, like guards and.
Yeah.
But very stupidly, I ran out of ammo, and then I was forced to play stealthy. But then I kind of preferred that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I don't need
I
it
love
in game.
Less
Stealth,
conflict like that,
Yeah.
you know?
And then you when you start fighting the clickers or whatever you call these,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're zombies. I'm still trying to figure out what they are.
They're
They're
their version of
infected people,
zombies.
but
They're
they're
their
sort of
clickers.
infected
it's a
creature.
variant of zombie. It's
Okay.
a variant of
It's
zombie.
just like Days Gone calling them freakers, you know what I
Okay.
mean? They just
Yeah.
trying to, they
Yeah, 'cause I
zombies.
know
the
they're
only
infected with
they
something.
are a little bit more unique in the fact that they're blind and they go by sound, where a lot of zombie games aren't like that.
Right.
So you can in zombie games they can see and they can hear.
Yeah.
In this one they really can hear, but they're very sensitive to hearing. So it's a
Yeah.
different element.
Yeah.
But
And at first, I was just messing with all those clickers. But then, there's a part where, you learn you can crouch, and then the stick you can like just move just a little bit, and they can't hear you.
Yeah.
So like, oh, this is a lot better.
you can actually skip them if you want.
Yeah.
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 So like, I
It's
always
really
kill
cool.
the ones that I can strangle.
Yeah.
But the
Right,
ones that I have to like.
You gotta
Stab. Because you got to
Stab.
waste a knife or whatever in the neck, right?
Because I was trying to figure out, like, dude, that's stupid. Like, it's just a knife. But I was like, maybe it's infected with something, and you
It's
don't want
like
to
a
like
shiv.
pull
it's
it
a
out.
shiv.
It's like a shiv. You makeshift
It's a
in it.
makeshift. It's not a real knife.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So now I've been very like cautious, and I love the collecting. Like, I'm picking up all the scissors and everything. I'm
Dude,
like,
and you're
Yeah.
keeping an account of all your items. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I have this many shivs. I can make this many more.
I can do
And
this
you're
many
like,
kills.
yeah, I can do this many
before I
kills.
gotta,
You're
like,
taking
section
scissors
off.
yeah.
You're really into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Because there's a couple areas where, like, by mistake, I used a shiv, and I was like, crap, I can't make it past this part. I need another one. so I just die. And I'm like, okay, cool, I got my shiv back.
Yep.
So then I'm like,
little scum stay there. I'm just like,
yeah, because I'm like, well, crap, because you can't strangle those things. You have to. So
you have to kill those on with the shiv.
I like how the weapons too. Like when you find like a plank of wood, you can only use it so many times because that makes sense. You shouldn't be able to like bust it on everybody's head.
Yeah, your plank of wood ain't gonna last the whole game, man.
So
like,
it's crazy.
and gonna break.
It's cool keeping track. Like, okay, this one has 3, that one's 4. I think I'll swap now.
Right.
You know, maybe I'll find a better one later. Or you might have like a good weapon that's like a one-hitter quitter, but only has like a couple durability left. You're like, do I pick up the plank or just stick with this?
The silencers
I love
are
the
limited
decisions
too,
all
right?
the time.
What?
The silencers and the guns are limited.
Haven't found the
right?
silencer.
Oh, you haven't done the
yet.
silencer yet.
Right.
Yeah. But I like it. It's like super, like not realistic, but
It is realistic.
You feel
That's
like
the
you're
best word
actually
for
playing.
it.
In
Yes,
the game.
that is the best word for it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's logical.
Like it feels like you're like, all right, I gotta
I
make
use the
it
word
through.
authentic. It feels very authentic.
Yeah, you don't
and
feel
lived in and real.
like you don't like. I'm not gonna say the game is hard, but at the same time, you have to really think about. You can't just go guns blazing. You really got to plan out. All right, I kill that one, skip that one, and I like how you kind of have to plan your battles out.
Yep.
Like I love the Molotovs right now because when there's human enemies, I just group them up and I run down the hallway. I'm like, please 3 come, so I just throw one and it just kills them all. I'm like, don't have to waste no ammo here.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun game. Like it started a little slow because I told you I started this game like a couple months ago.
Right.
But
that beginning turns you off.
But now I'm actually playing the game and it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I can't wait until you're done with this journey. You're gonna feel like it's a journey.
Yeah.
When it's over, you're like, oh my gosh, that was like an adventure and a journey, and you're gonna feel like very, contemplative about it, thinking about it.
Yeah,
so that's why I'm hoping.
But here's the thing, though. I'm comparing it to. All right. So I love Telltale games. I don't know if you know that, but I try to play all the Telltale games. This game is like, I'm not saying it's a clone, but it's very, very similar to The Walking Dead, the first Walking Dead Telltale game. Like, I'm drawing so many parallels between the games. Have you guys played the first Telltale?
Yeah.
We played those. But which came first?
The one with
No, which came first? Last of Us?
Sure, Last of Us did.
I thought Last of Us came before the
first,
Telltale
but
games.
I played the Telltale first. But I'm like, all right, you have like your leading male character. He finds Clementine, and then he's kind of like a parent figure. I haven't played it enough yet, but I just feel like it's kind of going in that direction.
I really like those
with
ones.
the dynamic of the characters.
Right.
So I feel like this is, if you could actually play a Telltale game, that's what this is. Telltale has a great story. It seems like this has a great story, but you could actually play in this game.
Right.
So this game, it's awesome
because I love. Its initial release was 2012.
Telltale.
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
And then when was Last of Us when it initially released?
Sure, let me see.
I think like 2013, right? It came right before the PS4, which would have been November 2013 or something like that. But anyways,
this came out in 2014. No, 2013. So the year after.
Yeah, but this Last of Us in development for like 5 or 6 years. So.
Yeah,
but I just see some similarities just in the dynamic of characters so far.
Yeah.
But
what's unique? But what's unique to Naughty Dog is just the way they tell their story inside the gameplay. Yeah. Where Telltale is meant to be narrative, like a book almost. This is choices. This is a game, an actual like gameplay game. Yeah. And they're telling the story in that narrative. That's completely unique to Naughty Dog.
Because back in the day, I wouldn't care about stories, but this game, I would say if I played this back in the day, it does such a good job telling the story that you don't even have to pay attention and you still know the story. It's like, well, damn.
Yeah.
So do
you like picking up the things and reading them and like trying to find all the little things? I do.
It depends.
Yeah.
Like, some things I'm like, what is
depends
this?
on how long they are. Yeah.
That's
if
true.
They're so long.
If it's like just a one-line paper, I'm like.
I'm just saying it's one of the few games where I actually want to like pick up things and read them.
Yeah.
Because I care enough about it. Yeah. Where in a lot of games it's like I don't read anything.
Yeah.
But in this game I actually really want to know.
I did read the first maybe like 1 or 2, but then I don't care anymore. I'm like, pass.
Yeah.
All right, too many. You find too many little thingies. But these ones sometimes I'll like read the first sentence and I'm like, okay. We'll see what this is.
The Last of Us 2 had a lot more notes and things like that.
Do you have The Last of Us 2?
No.
Okay, I need to make sure I give you my copy, or you give him your copy, so he has it.
Yeah.
Because you're probably not going to finish it before you head out for your baby,
Yeah.
So you have it to play during that time. Because you need to play that one, dude.
But so far, like, the game has, and it looks great, man. It's crazy how good the game looks. It looks fantastic on a PS5. So yeah, so far,
That's crazy, huh?
I want to play some more. I played it last Sunday or Monday night. I only meant to play it for like an hour, but I ended up
Sticking with it,
staying up
right?
till like 1:30 in the morning. I think it was on Sunday right before,
Yeah, dude.
Monday work night. But
Yeah.
I just like, oh crap, I played this for 3.5 hours. I didn't mean to.
It's so good, bro.
So
You get
Drives
lost
you
in
in,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
sorry for that little interruption. I just forgot to tell
I'm
you guys
glad,
that
dude.
I
All
played
good,
it.
man.
I was
Yeah,
waiting to hear
for
that.
sure.
Been
I'm sure a lot of people were.
waiting.
Yeah, so that's it for all the games that we've been playing this week. So on to the quick shots. The first one we have is about Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
So-
some leaked information. We've been getting lots of leaked information. You mentioned it earlier.
Right.
Things are coming out, trickling out all the time.
Yeah.
They had the glitch montage. I don't know if y'all
From
know
from
that. The
internal
internal
to-
glitch montage that
That
got
was
leaked.
so hilarious.
Right.
And it hit all the bugs we saw. They had in their montage,
And then
so they
some.
knew about all these things. They were laughing at their own game. So I don't know how I feel about that. That just right. It makes you feel like you feel like you've been robbed when they gave you this broken game and they knew it themselves. It was broken. They were even
Yeah, I
laughing
mean,
about it internally.
It's funny if it's happening and
that's
you're still
nuts.
working on the game, but if you've
It's
already
annoying.
put the game out and these bugs are still happening,
It's annoying, dude.
yeah, it's
Shame
like,
on
come
them,
on.
dude.
Yeah, shame on them. I agree. But anyways, we learned also in these leaks that this was actually intended to be a third-person game.
Or at least a
The
third
original
person option,
intention,
right?
or at the very least a third-person option.
Yeah.
Because the alpha footage that got leaked, he was in third person. You can see his back and all the electrical parts on his spine.
Right.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
And I heard they switched it to first person because it's much easier to
populate pixels and stuff.
and everything when it's in first person.
Wow.
And they switched it to the lazier mode.
But that would make sense, right? Because
So crazy.
like
That's
when you look at your
interesting.
when you look at your gear, right? The only way you're ever able to see the clothing or anything like that you have
is third person.
is when you're looking in your inventory currently now. So as you're setting up your character, then you see what he fully looks like. But after that, you never see it. So gear almost becomes like
Yeah, just
just a
cutscenes and
whatever
stuff.
thing.
I
Yeah,
agree.
you just got a smorgasbord of shit on.
Yeah.
And, and it's just like whatever's giving you the best pluses, right? Because you never see yourself.
you
so
don't
who
care what you
cares?
look like anymore.
Yeah. But that's like one of the things that, would make you hesitate. Like, I don't want to throw that on because like I'm
Definitely.
wearing a business suit and me putting on a parka ain't going to really look right. You know what I mean? With my dress slacks or something, So I feel like the game would have looked totally different. It'd probably be a lot more shirtless people running around just to see all of the cool aesthetics on their
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
or whatever, different thing like that.
Because in Fallout, you can go between first person
Right.
and third person, and that's a great feeling.
Yep.
Right.
We love that feature.
That's
Yeah.
the best because depending on the encounter, it gives you the extra look. And then you get to admire your character that you're building up, working up. So that really sucks.
Yeah, and then sometimes you might come into a cramped room and you can't quite see something,
'Cause
so you go
Witcher-
first person, and now okay, that was a pack of bullets. Let me grab that. We're like, it just
That's
gives
true.
you
Gives you
more
better
yeah,
perspective
Yeah,
sometimes.
better perspectives
I
and newer
mean-
perspectives that are all useful to you.
Yeah, for me, for Bethesda, I always tried to go third person in their games because their depth perception is really hard to determine when
Yeah.
you're in first person with those games. So you could swing and think you're hitting, but you ain't even close. But third person, you see exactly how close
Yeah,
you
that's
are
true.
and how much you can
Yeah.
swing and stuff like
No,
that.
I
So
like
always
third
playing
person
third for that.
primarily, but I do switch to first person.
Right, when you're like looking.
When
or
I'm looking,
something,
I'm really
running
trying to
around.
find what's going on and what to
Same
pick
here.
up or not to pick up. Like I like having the choice.
Right, but when shit gets tough, when there's a lot of enemies, third person, so you can see everything. and
Dude, or
start
if you're like
smashing
sneaking up,
stuff.
like you go with third person, you kind of like peek around corners. You can't really do that in
Right,
first person.
right.
Right?
Yeah, because Witcher was third person.
yeah.
So
I
it's
think
just-
they intended this to be third person.
Yeah,
I think
they
they
just-
ran into a lot,
It's probably last gen was
issues,
holding them
man.
back, maybe.
Well,
not just last gen, but like the last gen OG consoles.
Yeah.
Were
or
really making it hard to make this game.
they just did cuts, man. Like they probably had third and first, but they just was like, you know what, let's just
It
dump
was
third.
probably glitching out when they switched
And
to
let's just
third.
do
and so
first.
Probably
they
too
cut it
buggy,
out.
so they're like, we're not ready.
Too buggy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
That's sad,
sad. I mean, we talk a lot. Sometimes there's good news, but there's lots of sad news with this game.
There's been a lot of bad news
lot of
about
bad
CD
news.
Projekt Red and,
I heard
and this damn game.
I heard they're now losing some money trying to keep this game updated. It's now starting to chunk into the profits.
Yeah,
That makes
which
me
is
think, like,
disheartening.
how soon do they want to release a new game now? They're probably going to want to get a game out sooner now because of the debacle that this game.
Maybe, but you got to
cause-
save your face, right? You can't do another bomber.
Yeah.
you have to come with some A plus.
I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do, man.
Yeah.
Witcher 2. That's the next hope. That's their only hope, right? Witcher 2.
Witcher.
Well,
Witcher 5 or
4.
4.
Witcher 4.
Witcher
yeah.
4. That will help save them.
Yeah,
And then they can do a new IP
It's
later.
solid if you just take what's there.
Yeah,
and you just
people
improve
will be
off
excited
of that.
for that.
You
Because
got
I
a
love
solid
The
game.
Witcher, other than the clunky melee combat. I didn't
Yeah.
like the.
I mean, Witcher was up there for like one top 4 games played.
Yeah.
Like in
It's
length of
really,
time.
really good.
Yeah, Witcher
Right?
was awesome.
It's a top 10 of all-time game.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So on to next
But a
news.
game that does have third person
right.
is Far Cry 6.
Far Cry.
For the first time ever.
So,
I don't think they're doing a third-person mode.
Sorry.
I mean, that's definitely a big change, right? Because Far Cry has worked perfectly in first person, and for them to give you a third person aspect, I wonder why. I wonder if they've changed some things that would allow you to prefer
The
third
reason
person.
they gave, let me see if I have it here. Essentially, if I remember right, the
This
reason
is
they
for the
gave,
backpack thingy. Rocket
they wanted
launchers.
you to experience, they said, all the perspectives of the character Danny.
Okay.
So I think that, they have more aesthetic things like the backpack. They want you to see the shots. They want you to see you flying.
Right.
They want you to see you flame throwing. They want you to see all the glory.
Yeah.
And all the different perspectives, which, dude, I'm super pumped for.
Yeah,
because if you
it's awesome.
remember, the trailer had those shots. I don't think we were putting 2 and 2 together. But there was the one
They
shot when
did
she was
have
doing
those
the flame
shots.
shower.
But it
It
almost
was
seemed
always
as
with
if
the
it would be
backpacks.
like camera
Right.
perspective,
Yeah.
like your perspection, like you're just watching a cutscene as they let off some shots go. But yeah, if you could literally sit there and you're watching enemies and then you stand there and you let off some shit in your
That's
backpack and then it just
Yeah.
drops down like hellfire. Yeah, that's
I like
tight,
that
man.
addition. So, I mean, I really like, when I think back, some of my most memorable games are always third-person games, right? And so
That's true.
whenever I hear that, I'm super
Some
excited about that.
third-person
BioShock was
And then,
not.
of course, I wish more games would take the Bethesda route and give us a choice
Yeah.
to switch
I love
between
switching
them, which
between
is
them.
what they're doing. So,
Right.
I'm super happy to
Perfect.
see that.
Yeah.
That's the best when you have a choice.
When you have the
right?
best of both worlds.
You have the best of both worlds.
And one thing cool, I know in Far Cry 3 when I was playing it my limited time, I didn't like I loved cars, but it was like you're in like the
It's tough.
cockpit view. And it's cool, but when I play racing games,
tough.
I don't necessarily like the cockpit view. It's really hard to maneuver and turn accurately.
Yeah.
So, hopefully
No,
that'll
it
carry
is.
over.
Remember, we saw shots in the trailer of the 50s car she was
Driving,
driving, and it was
yeah.
third-person view.
Perfect.
And that's why I was commenting, like,
That's
this
way
feels
better.
like GTA.
Yeah.
Like,
Way
Far
better.
Cry's have never felt like GTA. They've always done the cockpit, and it's just like,
Yeah,
you
it's a
can
little
never get
clunky.
like it feels like a little turn, you move too much.
Yeah.
And then you
Hitting
feel
trees.
claustrophobic, like you
Yeah.
can't see.
Yeah,
Who's
it's cool
chasing
to see
you?
all the detail and
Yeah,
stuff when
like,
you're in the
that's
car.
fun, but-
yeah, even in Cyberpunk, I didn't drive in first person. I always drove in third.
Yeah.
It's just
way
the
easier
third
that
person
way.
addition, I think, is really going to help Far Cry feel
Yeah.
so much better as a
For sure.
game.
For sure.
Once again, another day one, man. Can't wait for this one.
Yeah.
Totally
So,
cool.
so tell me about Battlecat. Which one of you guys know something about?
Honestly,
Battlecat?
I don't know much about it.
No?
So I just know that Ubisoft announced a while ago that they're going to focus on free-to-play premium games.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought this fit the bill of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about it. Do you guys?
The most I know about this game is it fits the free-to-play model, which is exactly what Ubisoft wants to do.
Yep.
And it's a combination between Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, and Division.
Which
So
Division and
Division the
Splinter
third
Cell
person.
are
So it
great.
must be third person then, right? Because that's
I'm
the only
thinking
difference.
Splinter Cell was third person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Division is third person, so this is clearly going to be a third person
Okay.
game.
Third person.
Ghost Recon's like an open world, so is
Yeah.
Division.
Yeah.
But
But
Splinter
Ghost
Cell
Recon is
stealth.
good too. So
So I don't know what this is. I
Is it
don't
going
know
to be
what
a
to
stealthy
expect.
shooter?
it's
Uh,
got
looter
if
shooter?
you
No,
talking about
can't be a
Splinter
looter
Cell,
shooter.
man, it's got to be stealthy.
How do you mix Splinter Cell and Division though?
Yeah.
One completely stealth, one completely not stealth. Just make the
probably
choice?
probably with the gun mechanics of Division, with the stealth mechanics of Splinter Cell,
Yeah, because when I
and
think
then
of,
maybe
yeah.
like the world opening of like Ghost Recon. Sorry.
Yeah, when I think of Splinter Cell, it's the stealth.
That's
what I
So
think of,
It has to
100%.
have stealth.
100% stealth.
Division, the only unique to me, the unique things was the loot and the map. So
The gear collection was the funnest part about
the looter shooter,
Yeah.
and then the style of
shooting.
getting these little nodes and unlocking resources.
Because Division 2 is a cover based shooter.
Yeah,
Splinter Cell's not that.
Splinter Cell
it's crazy
shooting.
to think about this concoction here.
Yeah, Splinter Cell shooting was kind of like, it was more like gadgets and stuff like that. Like shooting was like a secondary thing. You always want to eliminate and
with your
secret.
hands or with your weapons
But
or gadgets.
so you weren't getting in like crazy gunfights in Splinter Cell
Division,
unless
that's
the
all you're
scene
doing is
required
crazy
you to do that.
gunfights.
But Division is all about gunfights. So if I could get a stealth like Splinter Cell with gun mechanics and things like that, like Division, and then it's in an open world.
But how does that translate to a multiplayer? Because this is supposed to be like a free to play multiplayer kind of thing.
Are they gonna go like, I don't know.
All I know is when I first heard
can't
this,
wrap my head around this.
Is it competition multiplayer though?
I think so. I don't know. That's a good question. We don't 100% know. I'm sure it'll get revealed this weekend.
Hopefully so, yeah.
But it's called Battlecat. So the name
Battlecat.
just seems like it's like a PvP, like a multiplayer game.
Me too. Yeah, it sounds like a
So I don't know.
Apex Legends, right? It sounds like
like Apex.
like an Apex.
So you think
Battle
you're going with
Royale.
some type of battle royale?
I think
in a
so.
sense?
I just think what a shame, man. This is the Splinter Cell we're getting, everybody.
I hope not. I hope there's more to come.
This is what we're getting, man. Like this is what's happened to gaming. Fortnite, these games have changed the landscape, and now this is the games we get.
Yeah, there was.
And it's not going to stop. I think everything's turning to this battle royale, community-based multiplayer.
It's a pretty solid.
Until people
it's a pretty
stop
solid
buying
free
stuff
game.
in these games, then that's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's our Splinter Cell, guys.
There was a comment.
Weren't we just
in the
talking
videos
about Splinter
last
Cell
week.
like a little while ago?
I think like last
hoping we
show,
wanted
yeah.
a Splinter Cell game, and
Yeah.
this is what we get.
Yeah, there was actually a comment that was just made in the last week's videos or whatever, one of them, and there was a guy in the comment. Sorry, I didn't read the name. I can't remember the name, but he was stating that Microsoft's new IP could possibly be Splinter
I
Cell.
saw that.
Like them
they
taking the Splinter
purchased
Cell
that?
time. But I mean, you got Tom Clancy, and like all of Tom Clancy's shit comes with
That's
it.
a really
you know what I
good.
mean?
That's
But,
a really good guess.
yeah. And I was just thinking like, man, dude, a Splinter Cell would be dope. You know what I mean?
And that's
But
why they changed it to
I just
Battlecat.
don't know.
Maybe.
I just don't
You
know.
just take some of the ideas from Splinter Cell. You no longer have the IP, but now you make a new one called Battlecat.
Yeah, but that news that we were sharing though was that Microsoft
Getting a
was
new
getting
IP,
an
right.
IP
Acquiring a
that
new-
was already
Yeah.
out and
Right.
had been established.
Right.
So, but I mean, a new Splinter Cell in that way, would be dope. But
I love Splinter
I just
Cell.
don't
I
find
love
Tom
stealth
Clancy
games.
giving away Splinter Cell like that easy. Even if he hasn't made it, it's such a
But then
solid
what about
project.
this, man? Turning it into this junk.
Well, you're not really turning
Yeah.
it into, right? Because you're just using some of the aspects.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll
But-
see how it's gonna turn out. But I still can't wrap my hand around this
What it even looks
combination.
like. Yeah. What it
Like
even
this
looks like.
I'm
com-
interested to see more. Right?
yeah.
It's got 3 good games.
Yeah, it
That
does.
is based off of,
because this
so.
formula just doesn't. I don't know to add up. But
It
we'll
sounds
see.
like
We'll
three
see.
things you don't mix together.
Yeah, it just doesn't.
I feel like
Right?
if you
I
did a
don't get it.
multiplayer without making it a competitive multiplayer.
How do you take
it'd
a
be
100%
really good.
stealth game and a 100% not stealth game and say they're one game now? Other than just you have the choice to be stealth, but then I don't know how that fits in a battle royale world. How
Well-
do you play stealthy in a battle royale world?
So what if you had characters that could that
Different
focus
classes,
mainly
maybe?
on stealth? Yeah.
I don't know.
And then ones that
'Cause,
focus
the
on
the
gathering-
traditional stealth game is like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Everyone's not running around, jumping around, moving around, shooting around.
Yeah.
How do you stealth? How do you stealth in Overwatch? I mean, how do you stealth in a battle royale? I don't know how you stealth.
I don't know, but that's just assuming it's a battle royale. So I'm definitely,
I'm
I definitely
assuming
want to
that.
see more. Hopefully, we can see something this coming week. Get
Yeah.
a little bit more information. Maybe like,
Ubisoft
was there any
show.
gameplay that popped out at all? It was
No,
just
It's just a
leak.
straight up a
titles.
This is
leak.
leak.
Just
Just
a
straight
leak.
leak.
Nobody
Yeah.
leaked like recording
Nah,
the
this is
screen that was
purely
playing the
Speculation
trailer
at
and
this point,
everything.
So
We just see the combination and we try to guess, right,
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah.
that's all we can do.
that's all you can do.
So another one that all we could do is speculate, but we had a lot more to
This
go
wasn't a
off
leak
of.
though.
This was
This
not a
is
for
leak.
real.
Was Battlefield 2042,
Yeah.
and it looked extravagant. It looked like it's a huge map that
Yes.
they're going off of, or a couple of them, or whatever that they had. But one of the bigger things that I saw floating around that people were raving about was the fact that there is no campaign on this.
It's only multiplayer.
It's a multiplayer only.
They scrapped
How do you
it.
feel about that, Mark? I mean,
So for me, I used to love the Battlefields. I've played literally every one since Battlefield 1942. And the height to me was Battlefield 3 and 4, but
What's the
to
deal
me-
with 42? You said it was called
They love that
1942.
42 number.
Well, because previously they had Battlefield 2142, so it was another futuristic
It was
game.
2142.
You can
Why
get
would
it
they go
max.
back now with 2042?
So I think they just kept the 42 because like they had a 42. So this is it's futuristic, but not as futuristic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
to me, what's important is their servers. The servers have been junk. Like EA servers are the worst, dude. These servers are trash. That's why I stopped playing Battlefield games.
Yeah.
It's because you guys' servers are literally the worst servers I've ever played on in my life. Like they're bad. So to me, that's the issue. It's like, all right, we're gonna have 148, 162 players, but if your servers are still junk, like I can give two
unplayable.
shits about this
Yeah, it's
game. You know.
unplayable.
So that was my main thing. I want to hear if they have anything because that's all the Battlefields have been plagued with their server issue and it's bad.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a ground war. Like I love that
Yeah.
idea,
It was more than ground, dude.
dude. But no, I mean it's a war.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm saying you start off as like a guy like a Battlefront kind of game. I mean, I love that style. I wish, more. I don't wish more companies made a game like that.
The only Battlefront I ever
But
played
it
was
is
Star
weird
Wars.
that they're charging you $70. You
For
realize
a-
that
a
$70
game,
for a
multiplayer
multiplayer
only.
game.
Yeah.
That's,
People are still gonna
That's
flock to
bizarre
it.
to me.
Yeah.
This is 100% a free to play game. I don't know.
Yeah, they're
This
charging
is
for it.
exactly because
So-
you know they're gonna have cosmetics. You know they're
Yeah.
gonna have.
This
a loot
is
store.
Warzone, but they're charging. For
This
it.
is Warzone, but they're charging you
Well-
$70 for it. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Okay. So there's two main modes to this game. There's the standard Battlefield huge vast map, which we all know and like. I personally love the big map.
Yeah, same here.
And then they have a smaller corridor combat, which I think they're
the
small.
reason why I like it is it's also team based.
Yes.
I don't like Warzone because it's
It's a
not
solo,
team based. It's
yeah.
solo. Where I like that we're two teams clashing.
Okay.
That's
yes.
why I like that model better. But go ahead. Yeah.
So I think that's their bread and butter. The big with vehicles, tanks, and 2142 you can get into big old mechs. So it was awesome.
Mech, dude. That's
You know,
dope.
it was awesome. Like there's a vast of things you can do. You can get good at shooting guns. You can get good at piloting vehicles.
Right.
Because the piloting aircrafts and things is very difficult. So it made it feel very like you're in a war. So that's the best version of Battlefield in my opinion. The second version that they have is more of a close corridor. What more people I would
COD
say
multiplayer.
COD multiplayer.
Yeah.
So those are the two essential modes in there.
Yeah.
I guess people have asked them, is there a free to play mode in this? But they haven't really said. They haven't said yay
They're
or
charging
nay.
$70.
It may
man.
be this corridor combat may be the free version.
Like COD multiplayer
Yes,
kind of thing.
That may be the free
Because
version.
everyone wants the Battlefield, dude. The Battlefront.
Yeah,
Everyone wants that.
that's the funnest part.
And that's how
Yeah.
you're gonna make your most money, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you have these things. That's just waiting to get cosmetic
but-
add-ons and stuff like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, but
in
with
there.
what you're saying, they scrapped the campaign, so you're paying $70 literally for a multiplayer mode. So if your guys' servers aren't like
A1.
S tier,
You're right, dude.
like dude, for a multiplayer only game and your servers are still
and you're
sucking,
charging 70.
and you're charging 70, I can see if it was free. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Have crappy servers, but you're charging a premium price tag, and your servers are still gonna be crap. That's why, I'm not too hyped for this game, despite it looking. Let's face it, it looked
It's
incredible.
exciting.
It looked fun.
It is
looked,
exciting.
It looked awesome, but
But I don't like the $70 price tag.
Yeah.
And especially if the servers are like you're telling me
Yeah.
are junk. I
Yeah.
would feel terrible
Yeah.
spending $70 on a game.
Now,
that
is
you
this
can't
gonna
play.
be 70 though?
It's gonna be 70. It's
They said it's gonna be
confirmed.
70.
There
Because
was
we
a
haven't had a
glitch.
$70 game yet like that really on the Xbox, right?
well,
Xbox
Call
has
of
always
Duty
been
was
less.
70 on the new gens, and
Was
then
it?
Yes.
60 on the old. And
Series
same,
X was
same with
70
the
too.
sports games too. So
Okay. So these third party like sports and gun blazing games,
Mm-hmm.
they've been selling theirs. Because I know like that's been like one of the things that Xbox has had is that none of their games have really been like the $70 price tag. They've always been lower.
I thought it was dope
Except
when
for
you
these.
ejected out of your plane,
Yeah.
fired your rocket. That's totally new. I've
Yeah.
never seen a game do that.
I
Before.
haven't seen that
And then
either.
you went
That
back
looked
to
awesome.
your plane.
You can
I
go
was-
back to
dude,
your
and
plane?
you didn't see that in the trailer? He
I
grabbed
missed
onto
that
his
part.
plane and got back into it and flew off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that.
That
part,
was
dude.
intense. Like it's exciting. I will admit, this is exciting. I'm not going to deny that, but I am not happy about them
Yeah.
charging 70 for a multiplayer game
Yeah.
that could potentially have horrendous servers.
Yeah.
That's that's unplayable.
Yeah.
You can't spend money on that.
And I would say shout out to Call of Duty because I didn't play all the campaigns, but I have been trying them in the later games, and they are really polished and fun.
They're cool.
So
I still gotta play Cold Wars.
Although not a lot of people play it, they put a lot of effort into it. Although no one plays it, it's all voice acted with like real high end actors
Scenarios
and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
So
I remember adoring the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. One of my most memorable campaigns.
That was probably the last time I played one.
It was really great.
I don't think I played them, but I know the Modern Warfares were good ones.
I kind of stopped playing Call of Duty. But I do know they got a lot of backlash that one year they released a COD without a campaign.
Yeah.
They got a lot of backlash for that. Even if it's a 5-6 hour campaign, they need to include a campaign to make you feel
Just
like
a
you're getting
quick one.
$70
3 missions.
game. I will say I'm a little excited about the new season of Warzone because they're introducing a 6v6 and a 12v12.
Yeah.
Which is I always like the team based.
Aren't they having new zombies or something
one,
too?
All for one for all.
Well,
All for one.
But
I know new zombie mode too.
They've always had solos, duos, and then they added fours. So right now they have one man team, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, but I always wanted the Battlefield
Bigger groups.
50 on 50. They did have that there was like a weekend or something. They had a system a period of time where it was like a 50 on 50.
I think that was Fortnite, or maybe it was. I know for sure. Fortnite
or it might have been
that.
Blackout. It might have been Blackout. I don't remember. They did once where they did like a 50 on 50. I missed that train, but that's why I'm excited about Battlefield because I like that. Like I like obviously World of Tanks, my most played game of all time.
Yeah.
Like I like the warfare and like the realistic kind of warfare, but like a real battle.
Yeah.
So that's what's exciting about that to me, but I'm not excited at all about the $7 price tag. I don't know how I feel about that, and that I didn't know their servers were so bad.
Yeah, dude,
That
their
makes it really,
servers
really
have been
hard.
trash. So hopefully they're getting better, but
We'll see.
that's what they've been plagued with. So
Yeah. And then one thing that had me thinking, like with all this E3 stuff, do you think have you guys heard anything about like Halo Infinite? Like, do you think 343 is doing anything or whatever? Like, heard any news?
I mean, it was on the cover of their E3.
Like they were gonna
I know
show
the
something,
first
right?
week I said they're not going to bring it,
Yeah.
but they did show it on their image, their
Uh-huh.
E3 image. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that means they're gonna say something. But you guys read some news,
Yeah,
right?
there's some leaks that, for one, the graphics they say are improved, but not top tier. I don't know what
So
that
they're like,
means.
I Craig still like Swiss cheese.
They like there is going to be though a Battlefield style mode, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
I'm curious to see how that looks.
So just an all-out war.
An all-out war.
Okay.
And
That should
we
be
heard
awesome.
a kind of a leak that it might be September.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to find it exactly.
That's when
here.
they'll release that shit.
They were interviewing one of the developers, I believe.
This shit ain't gonna be native 4K.
Nah, I just was cracking up. Better, but not top
not that
tier.
great.
Like, what does that mean, dude?
So in other words,
What does that
Halo
mean?
Infinite still struggling.
Halo Infinite
They
is still
still
struggling.
343.
Oh yeah, here it goes. This is the interview. This is the quote.
Where
He's
you getting it
talking
from?
about the game. This is I'm on WCF Tech.
Okay.
WCCFtech.com, and they were interviewing Colt Eastwood on his show. So I don't know if you know who that is, but he's like a big Xbox guy. And he says a big emphasis for the show will be a huge, varied showcase of the multiplayer suit coming to Halo Infinite Online, which is the Battlefield.
Okay.
A free-to-play model that will literally bring in millions and millions when the game launches in September of this year.
Huh.
That's right around the corner.
So do you think it's gonna bring in millions with shit graphics? Yeah, because it's Halo, right?
Well, because it's free, right?
It's
Free
free.
and it's Halo.
The free
so
is what the free model.
you gotta play it.
Free equals you make money.
I don't even
So,
think that it's just. I don't even think that it's like, oh, it would bring in. I think it's just because of the name and the fact that it's
the name
free.
and it's free. You got a
Yeah.
recipe.
Yeah.
For
That's
money.
a cheat code, man. Like
It's
you
a
gonna
cheat
get
code.
people
Yeah.
to play your shit.
Everyone's gonna play it.
Yeah, you could do Pokemon free, and it's just dudes walking around with Pokemon Jump. You can't interact with them or anything like that.
'Cause this
So
sounds like an
people
Xbox
go
One,
play the
right?
game.
This sounds like Xbox One thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Everyone's
so.
gonna play this.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna play this game.
Everyone's gonna try it for sure.
Everyone's gonna try it.
Will we try it?
Just
I'm trying. Now.
I'm gonna
Guess
try
we
it.
gotta
It just
try
makes me feel like it might. I don't know. I just get skeptical when they do this stuff because it makes me feel like they're watering down the campaign, which is what Halo was always about originally, was the great story and campaign.
That's true.
Well-
So I just get a little discouraged.
I just feel a certain way when like somebody tries to serve me something, but they go like, "Hey, I made this for you. It's not the best. I could have done better, but try it out, see if you like it." You know what I mean? It's like, damn. Like, put in some effort, or don't tell me about the shit. Like,
That's
don't show it
just
to nobody.
hilarious,
Just
man.
flash drop that shit. Just don't let nobody review it early. Don't see no copies. Just everybody see it, and then that's
the
what
only
you got.
problem here is because that's on everyone's mind, dude. Like after the Craig fiasco,
How does it look?
that's the first thing people are gonna ask.
Yeah, because
how does it look?
Craig looked dusty.
'Cause
Craig looked like he was stuck on the
Craig
PS3
was
for
from
sure.
brute force in 2004.
Yeah,
right.
man.
Like,
If
what's
you
wrong
see,
here?
If you see like 90% of the shit popping up on a PlayStation, that did not even match it.
So I just
didn't
think
even
that's why
compare.
there's a little bit more like, because I get it. Yeah, you don't want to say this is just it's not top tier. But here, have this burrito.
Yeah, they
It's
should
like,
never
dude,
let
why
Colt
do you
speak
offer-
about it.
Why do you preface?
Why did you show
Why
Colt
do you
this
preface
shit?
it
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah.
No one wants their burrito to be prefaced. It's not top tier, but
Yeah.
well, then why
It's not top tier. I'm not sure how it got here.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, even if it's not top tier, you don't say that. You just try this burrito. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You don't tell someone
You
that
just
it's
leave it
not.
for-
It's like
Yeah.
this. It's like someone cooked you a meal, right? They bring you a lukewarm. Here, it's warm enough. It's not like fresh out of the oven, but it's
still
good enough.
good. It's still
And
good.
but your question back to the server, it's like, well, take it back and heat it up, and then give it to me.
Yeah,
So it's like,
exactly.
come on, guys. Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't even said that. You should have just kept working on it, make it the best it can be. Because at this point, it's like, you guys know the graphics are shit. So what's your excuse when you give it? Like, you guys knew that. It's like Cyberpunk. Like before, we didn't know that they had a
knew
montage
it.
of all the bugs, but they still gave it to us anyway. So that's like shame on you guys extra. So
Right.
But they got it off though, because they didn't tell nobody about it.
Till
So
after.
you can discover all the bugs yourself. But if I go here's these waffles. They warm. I had them under the heat lamp for like a couple
They
hours,
should
but they
melt
good
the butter.
though.
They should be
They
fine.
should. They still
They
good.
should
though.
possibly
They hot,
melt the
right?
butter,
You want
you
them
know?
hot? They might be dry, but they hot though,
Not
right?
quite hot enough to melt the butter, but they're good still.
Right.
Dude, that's weird, man. It's so weird. I don't know. It just doesn't bode well. Just like you said, Halo Infinite is still struggling.
Yeah, I'm honestly not looking forward to Halo at all.
As sad
like
as
I
that
really
is,
wasn't
right?
before, but I'm really not
yeah,
now.
I'm
Like,
with you 100%.
I can totally wait on this, bro. They could keep this shit for like until 2025
Yeah.
and then release it. I'll be okay. They can save this shit for like the next generation,
Yeah.
and I would be
What a
okay.
debacle,
I'm just
man.
not really.
I just miss Halo being in like the mainstream. Like I just
too,
remember as
man.
a kid,
Me
Halo
too.
2, Halo 3.
It used to be the title you would bring up to
MLG.
like refer to something else.
It
Like
was the like
We
premiere.
sat
Compare
out,
it.
you and me, we sat out in front of GameStop playing Halo on a car battery, waiting for Halo 2 to come out.
Yeah, if you
That's
guys want
how-
to hear that story,
yeah, we have a dope
let us know
story.
in the
We'll let
comments.
you know what that's
we'll
about.
get to it.
But I mean, like, that's how much we loved Halo.
Yeah,
We ain't like haters. Like, we loved this stuff.
for sure.
And this is just sad. It's a debacle. It's sad. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on.
It used to be one of those games that like, although it was on the console, it made the Xbox early on. In my opinion, it made like everyone who played Halo didn't deny it. It was an amazing game.
Absolutely.
For when it came out. So it just sucks that they really tainted this because when it wasn't a launch title, I feel like that was the beginning of the end. Like
Yeah.
that was the redemption. Like, okay, it's gonna be a launch title. It's gonna be an open-ish game. It's gonna have all these things, and then when it didn't meet our expectations, it's tanking ever since. So
Yeah, for sure.
This E3 is so important for Xbox, dude.
Yeah.
If they don't deliver, they're in real trouble.
yeah,
I believe they will, but I'm just saying if they don't.
yeah. I feel like they're in the Blizzard area. They're gonna show like, here's a Switch Halo Master Chief Collection. Yay! Those are bangers. Those are
Yeah.
good games. But their new stuff is very questionable.
I don't know. what's
So-
happening
Yeah,
with
it's
that
it's
studio.
starting to remind me of like an ugly chick that you see but you just keep staring. It's like there's nothing appealing, but
You're
you
trying
just
to find
you just
some
keep
beauty?
looking.
Yeah.
Because it's just drawing you in, and like, I just want to see this thing crash and burn.
Oh, I
Because
thought
it's
you were gonna
just-
say it was like
it's just so
like
crazy.
someone who you thought was beautiful before, and then you saw it years
Oh,
later.
That's it.
And you're
drunk.
and you're trying to remember. Like, wait, is that
You're
are
try-
you
yeah,
still
that's a
the
good
person that I
example.
used
That's
to
a good
remember?
example, Mark.
And
Yeah.
you're looking, you're like, I don't know if
That's
that's
a good
you. I'm just gonna
example,
keep
Mark.
walking.
You got the
I'm not
bear
gonna say
goggles
hi.
on, man.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good
you
example,
know?
Mark. Yeah, someone when you were younger you thought was
Yeah, you had a crush
We all
on,
had that
and then you
experience.
saw him
We all
again.
had
You're
that
like, wait,
experience.
I'm not even gonna say hi to you. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
keep walking.
we all had that
Why?
experience, man. Yep.
Yeah, so that's it for the quick shot topics for this week. But let's get into the nitty gritty, man. Let's just start off with a banger, Elden Ring. We finally got a damn trailer with a little gameplay inside of that sucker.
Pretty good trailer, dude.
It was a long one, and it looked magnificent, man. But you guys tell me what y'all thought about that.
So I'll just start with the coolest thing in my opinion was the mount combat. This mount feature, it just adds a pacing. I feel like that Souls games sometimes need. Mm-hmm. You have your small, like you're crawling through the dungeon, but now
you mean like you're cool?
You can ride in there.
You're cool.
You're cool. You're cool. Who's your cool?
You don't know who your cool is?
You're cool. You're cool.
That's the mount from Princess Mononoke. Do you remember that movie, Princess Mononoke?
Nah.
That's one of the
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched that one.
Do you remember you saw that movie?
I'm trying to remember.
You should add a picture. You're cool next to the mount in Elden Ring.
You're cool is the name of the mount?
Yeah. How did that movie go? Because I think I've seen it a long time ago.
There's demons in the world. They're like animals. And they're like gods. They call them gods. They're big creatures. And the main character, his arm gets touched by one of the demons. Mm-hmm. And it starts to infect his body, turn him into a demon. So he has to make a trip to like the forest, to the forest god, to cleanse his arm. But that arm, it's like, because it's demon infused, it's like extra strong. And so he can use it to become extra strong. But the more he uses it, the more it starts to corrupt him. And he has his trusty steed, his buddy, Yakul. And it's like this kind of like elk looking, horse, and has the horns just like on. And it can do like otherworldly jumps. Like you see it like run and it like leaps really far. Just like in this story, that the creatures kind of do.
I'll try to pull up a picture.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch that movie. I think I've seen.
It's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie.
I like. What's that one? Howl's Castle.
Yeah. What about Howl's Moving Castle? That's in this game too, right? You guys see the Howl's Moving Castle? Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, dude. That's why I brought it up. That's
Do you remember
favorite.
Howl's Moving Castle in this game?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Remember the creature walking around with the bell on its belly? If you could see like a building up there, you could see like a whole castle up. If you remember. I don't know. Go back and watch. I watched the trailer quite a few times. Just so. All
right. So yeah. So I'll go back to the things I like. The mount combat was awesome.
It's like I have studied every detail on this thing.
I need to go back and watch it
Castle,
again.
Man.
But yeah, I loved Howl's Moving Castle.
I feel like there's lots of Studio Ghibli in this game, man.
So I'm gonna ask you guys: does it feel like this is like rudimentary, like a Souls game?
I think so. Absolutely.
The way everything looks, it just looks like another Souls game.
Dude, all the
like
combat, if you look at the combat maneuvers, like his step back with the arrow, that's in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Or his move where he does the flip.
Yeah.
That's a Dark Souls. Almost everything's Dark Souls.
Right.
Dude.
And the way the NPCs kind of slash and their like movements. But dude, I love the mounts in this game. Like just the fact that you can fight a boss on a mount.
Dude, did you notice if you really looked carefully,
with your microscope?
Dude, he double jumped in the air. The mount.
The mountain
when
double
he was fighting the dragon that caught the lightning bolt and threw it at you.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was on his mount fighting that dragon, and then he jumped and then jumped again.
Isn't there a part 2 where like the mount just like scales the wall? It's like
yeah, dude. He runs and there's like this little spiritual puddle.
See, now y'all making me watch this shit again.
He flies into the air, dude.
I was like, what the hell is that?
Or you jumped off. Remember when you jumped off your mount? You're like riding, and then like you jumped off your mount, and your mount just vanished.
Yeah, that was weird.
Into like nothingness.
But yeah,
dude, this is really neat. The mount combat is like
the mount is crazy.
I
feel like
that's new, way new to Dark Souls.
I feel like it's going to elevate the game to a whole nother level. It's just going to make it more fluid.
It's going to change the pace.
Make some pace faster. You know what I mean? Because sometimes Dark Souls, when you're trekking through this area for a while, you need a little break. So it'd be cool to jump on a mount, dash to somewhere.
I don't know about you all, but this was like we needed this in the sense that like we're seeing all these open world games come out, right? Horizon, Far Cry. We're talking about all these open world games, but in my opinion, even though clearly this is running on like the PS4 engine, right, of Dark Souls, this is not running on what Bluepoint used, right, for Demon Souls. Clearly the graphics, it doesn't matter. They have so much depth and character in every little thing that they do. The world, the bosses, the enemies are on like a whole nother level of creativity that it's almost hard to like put into words, right? Like when you see the creatures walking in the spike, or the king drops, or the one king, the chick that puts the arm on, that dash was so pretty looking. Like when she stabbed you, it's so elegant and just like perfect that I can't believe it. They are, in my opinion, just the absolute best at their worlds, at the lore and the character. Because the world itself is like a character.
Yeah.
And it's on another level of like fantasy to me than any other game you've ever seen or even coming out. And I'm shocked by them. What I want to ask you guys was, this is the first time From Software has ever done an open world game. What do you think they adopt from this current algorithm of open world game making, the current standard, algorithm that all open world games have, outpost destruction or chase this guy, quit. And what do you think, how does it look different? Like, what direction do you think like they're going with their open world style? Is it going to be that repetitive, monotonous kind of like open world we're used to exploring in, or what do you think? What are your guys' what do you think that's going to be? This seems different to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be an open world, but with some rails to it, in the sense that you have your mount, you're going to traverse the lands, but then you're going to get somewhere. And you're going to have to go through some sort of, is this a big castle? So I feel like the open world is going to be kind of like the vessel to kind of travel. But when you get somewhere with like a boss or something like that, I feel like it's going to go back to its roots of like Souls. Like you get to trek through this area that's kind of, there's one path, kill the boss, and then bam, you're back in the open.
So you're thinking along the lines of like a Shadow of Colossus.
Getting 2 areas or something like that.
Shadow of the Colossus was kind of like that. You played Shadow of the Colossus, right?
Yeah, I never played this one.
Where you had an open world and you were running in one direction, and then you just kind of like started following a path, and you'd eventually hit like a Titan.
Yeah, something like that.
You can kind of go in your own way. You can kind of go whatever direction you wanted to go and fight the Titans in whatever order you wanted to fight them in.
Yeah.
But the world was open. That's a really cool idea. I think you might be right, because I was trying to think like, how do you make a Dark Souls game, which is so like on rails, like following this path to move forward? Because that's really what Souls like is. You're creeping, right? You're creeping forward, down the corridor, what's down that corridor. But to open it up, how do you retain that Dark Souls feel in an open world? And that's a really good point. Maybe you're just going like, the world is open, but you're going to like a zone, that's like a castle,
small area,
and that becomes like a level, right? Or a biome, and then you move to like another biome.
Or I could see it being kind of just like any other Souls game, but like on a blown up version. You know what I mean? Just like a lot more corridors and areas that you can go into and go around and stuff like that. Maybe a couple more pathways that you could choose from, as opposed to just like, having to go this way. I mean, there are like options that you can take as far as like where you want to start. But you ultimately, in order to get to like this boss, you have to take this path. That boss, you have to take that path or whatever. But maybe there's other ways to approach the boss, of the area that you're trying to get to. So maybe that's how they make it more.
Yeah, because also there are definitely things in the world though too that are outside of like the biomes. Because I think I agree with you, Mark. I think it's going to be like biome centric, where like the world is like just a hub to like different tentacles to biomes, right? But clearly there are things in the world, because he was attacking like those guys carrying like loot.
Yeah.
Like they were carrying like gold or whatever on that train, and they're going to be wandering in the world, and you want to go find them. It also seemed like there's going to be random world encounters, like you're just in the world and you come across a Titan or whatever. Yeah, and you fight it. It's just really weird to think about an open world game from them.
Yeah.
To like conceptualize it, because we know what to expect with the standard AAA open world game. This just doesn't feel like it's going to be that. I bet you're right though. It's going to be more like Shadow of Colossus.
And one thing too, like it was giving me like a lot of like the Castlevania Netflix vibes too. But did you notice that part with the werewolf? Mm-hmm. Was that you that turns into a werewolf?
I was asking the same question. Or is that a boss?
Or is that a boss? Because I was looking at its armor and it looked like kind of like the standard knight armor without a helmet.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So I was like,
that was us.
Can you? Is that an option in the game? So that was, you know, there's a lot of mystery in the trailer. This trailer's a lot better than, remember that
was just a leak.
That weird leak we saw before.
Yeah. And it kind of made it look like it was something totally different, right?
Yeah.
Because it had the words going across the screen. It kind of seemed like it was more lighthearted, or whatever. The thing that I'm
also
hoping,
you can jump in this game.
Oh, that's true.
You notice
That's
that
nice.
you can jump
I did
like
see
Sekiro.
that.
You're right.
Yeah.
It feels like they just took all their engines, right, and just kind of
Try
mashed
to
it
put them
into
together,
one.
or some of the better aspects
Because you could
of each
also
of their
stealth
games.
in Sekiro. In this game, clearly, you could stealth in this game, it looked like. Anyways, what were you saying?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but anyways, I just think, like, I'm wondering also how the loot will work. Is it going to be like a traditional open world game with the loot?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to have, or is it going to be standard Dark Souls with the loot?
Where you opening up chests and stuff like that?
Yeah, where you're opening up chests and you find just like a piece of armor, right? Or
finding
is it
some
going to be
items
more
on people?
customizable? How RPG are they going here? I hope they go the standard Dark Souls RPG route, not the Sekiro route.
Right.
Because I like finding loot and I like finding gear and changing my weapons.
That's what makes you scour the whole map and enjoy the map.
Exactly.
That's your incentive to actually play the game.
Yes, that's your number one incentive.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say that I hope that in the coming days, because this game is supposed to come out in 2022, January
22nd.
22nd.
It's
22nd.
21st, 2022 or 22nd,
22nd.
I think it's
was it 22nd? I thought it was January 21st, 2022. Okay. But regardless, it's in January.
Yeah, January
towards the
20
end.
something.
And the fact that it's so close, I'm hoping that we hear a lot more from it.
21st.
But
21st,
but
my
what
bad.
I wanna find out like soon is how much story are they gonna give us? Because throughout the years of Dark Souls, we are never given like a straight up story. And having like a lot of story while we play through. It's normally like we get like the synopsis, a quick synopsis, and then the world kind of tells a story of decay and things like that. And then you kind of get a little bit here and there, and then there's a lot of lore written down and armor and things like that. But like, will this be like almost like a story-driven game because George R. R. Martin is behind it?
I think it's going to be more than the standard Dark Souls storytelling.
You think it's still going to be limited?
But I think it's going to still be wrapped in an allure of mystery like all Dark Souls games are. That's one of the funnest parts, in my opinion, about Dark Souls is just walking around and trying to figure out what's going on. You're just kind of like, you're just in awe of what you're witnessing.
Yeah.
I do think, though, like the motivations might be a little different. Like in Dark Souls, you're more so like clinging on to like the last vestiges of hope. Like you're like the last hope for like humanity. And you're like clinging on to the last bit of fire, right?
You and millions other.
Yeah, like we're like in this one, it seemed like like some of the dialogue in there was like, what was it like the flame of ambition or whatever, implying like you're like, what do they call them? Ashens or something. They were calling the people like what you were, and like the narration was like, and by the flame of ambition or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Almost implying like you're out there like just to get stronger for yourself. You're not trying to like, save the world or trying to, cling on to this last bit of hope. You're out there really just because you yourself want to.
You just grinding.
You trying to become the greatest, right? So that there's a different like mindset direction with the story here, for sure. And there was quite a bit like a dialogue for a Dark Souls game, like the guy talking or narrating,
right? The
king or whoever was talking, implying like we have to, right? I mean, George R. R. Martin's a writer.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really like an artist where he's like drawing conceptual a world. He writes, and so like I'm really hoping we get a little bit more, but I don't want them to trounce the old way. I like some of the mystery and just like what in the heck is here, and you just learn about it through the world. Like as you go forward, you see the bodies. It just starts to kind of make sense. Oh, there must have been a fight here, or a brawl here, or a disease came through here. You just kind of start learning about it as you kind of move through the world. Yeah. I like that way of storytelling too, that they do better than anyone. And so, but we'll see. I would like some more, like you're saying, dialogue.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, because the dialogue was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff he was saying was really cool. I was like, oh man, this is so good. I can't wait.
Yeah.
makes me think it is done. Why do you think? I wanted to ask you this too. Why do you think they're waiting until? Because it's literally the first month of the year. Why do you think they're waiting for 2022 rather than releasing it in 2021?
So,
too crowded?
Have you seen some of the games that are supposed to be coming out in 2022?
Yeah, like big ones, like
God of War Ragnarok. What else? There was another one. There was
Horizon
another big one.
West, right?
I think Horizon. Yeah. So what if you're trying to compete with some heavy hitters to see who's the best game around? What if you okay, if I look at this year, right, it's been tainted by COVID, you know what I mean? So why come out and rule this year? Why don't I come out with something, that's really
but now they're
a challenge
with those other games too.
Yeah.
That are all going to be 2022. Everyone pushed it to next year.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's 2022. But if your game comes
Horizon.
out top and there's a lot of heavy hidden games, I can only imagine what next year's Game of the Year's list is going to be like. Right, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna be coming out. I have no clue when freaking Hogwarts Legacy is gonna be coming out.
That's all next year.
But at whatever point, Gotham Knights, dude, there's so many that have been pushed.
2022 is probably gonna be one of the best years in gaming we've seen in a long time.
Man, so I mean, shit, Halo Infinite should push that.
I'm just
back.
saying, I think Elden Ring would have been the unquestioned, unmitigated champion of the world, Game of the Year had they come out this year.
For sure.
Now they have a lot of competition. They would have just been guaranteed that title.
That's
I think.
True.
But I don't think that they shine away from that competition. And I think that
might be right.
I think that because
You might
this
be
game
right.
is different. It's different from all of the other Souls games, right? Because of these different aspects that they're adding in there. Now this is a little bit more approachable by other people who might have just stayed away from Souls games because, it's too hard or whatever, or they're not ready for that challenge. Maybe this is a little bit more digestible, as far as challenging goes.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an actual difficulty level that you can adjust.
I can't wait, man.
So,
we'll see.
who knows?
I just can't wait.
Can't wait, dude.
It's so exciting.
I don't really know what
Crazy.
they're thinking. Maybe they just want the extra year just to finalize and make everything perfect.
Sure,
Try to
sure.
work some of the
But
glitches.
it's like Mark said, everything you saw was from Dark Souls 3, right?
Have you come across the glitch? Sorry, sidetrack. Have you come across the glitch in Ratchet and Clank?
Just the one I was telling you, with the boxes.
Yeah,
when you get stuck between two boxes, you kind of just floating like you're falling.
Yeah.
But you don't fall. That's the only glitch I've come across.
So I had a glitch that I was going in. I forgot what area I was in. It was I can't remember what the type of area I was in, but there was a bunch of different slopes that levels or whatever that you could run up on, and I had died. And when I respawned, I spawned in an area that had nothing. You could see little lines of the area that you can move, and you could see your guy walking around, but you couldn't see anything else, and it was just clear background. So it was
I will say this.
It was glitched out.
I don't know if you got there yet, but you get to the part where you get to the fur balls. Rivet's trying to save, and there's that the gun vendor's there, and then right behind her is the purple void.
No.
Okay, well, when you get to that point, after you're done riding on the snail, there's a purple void there, and you're supposed to walk up to that with your glove and break it. Yeah. Well, I was just still exploring. I didn't want to move to the next section yet, so I was kind of running around. And then there's another path you can take that takes you to the next zone. So I just kind of started walking down there, and it triggered a fight scene, and a dinosaur came out, and there was goons over there, and they were all fighting the dinosaur. So I'll just sit back and let them kill that dinosaur for me. But they were taking forever, and they were very slow, so I started to help. And I killed the dinosaur, and I killed all the goons, and I was like, well, there isn't only anything over here right now, so I'll just go back and start the next thing. So I went back and I started that thing, and I did that. I came back out, and the dinosaur was back. I had to refight the dinosaur over again.
Wow. They made you do the cutscene over.
And there was no goons now.
Oh, so it was just
the goons didn't respawn, but the dinosaur did. So I was wondering if that was a glitch. I was like, I should have just waited.
I wonder if I should try it the same way.
I should have just waited. Yeah, see what happens to you. Yeah. I was like, I should have just waited and killed it once rather than having to kill it twice. Yeah. But anyways, I got more rare titanium though.
Okay. So the dinosaur drops loot like that?
So it dropped the same loot twice for me, which was cool. So I got
that might work out if I do
But I was just really surprised. I was like, that's so weird. The game doesn't remember I killed that thing. It's weird. Anyways.
But so on to the next topic we have. We finally got a hardcore look at Kenna. I mean, this was like good 4 minutes, but it was like
It was
in
like
depth.
6 minutes, but like flashing between the developers.
Right, the developers
Yeah.
talking about their processes,
Insight,
going through
yeah.
the game, and then giving you a lot more of the game. I mean, the game still looks great. It looks fun. And then just hearing like all of the stuff that these guys are doing. They're going to Bali. They're getting like these little flute instruments that they're playing on, getting some cool music going and stuff like that. But I mean, did any of this get you like more pumped for Kenna?
Yeah, dude. Supposedly there's 45 minutes, right? There's 45 minutes of cutscenes. He said there's a 45-minute movie in the middle of this game. So that means that they split out a 45-minute movie. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Into this game.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
How cool is that?
Now, what would be dope is if they released that at like, you know,
Dang,
like
that'd be cool.
after you finish the
You
game,
beat the
they
game and then you can watch it.
Dude, or you get like a version, like a deluxe version that comes with the movie.
Yeah.
And then you just have the movie and you can like show it to friends and family. Dude.
Yeah, that would be
How
fine.
cool is that, right?
A little small short or something like that.
Yeah, it's a 45. That's pretty good. That's like, you know,
yeah, it's a solid show. It's a show.
Yeah. So I was like, that was really cool.
But that's interesting because that makes me wonder, like, if they approached it, you know, because these guys were movie developers, or movie like
they're in Hollywood animation, something.
Hollywood working for Pixar or whatever they're working for. But if they approached this like, oh, let's make a movie, and then they're like, they made the movie, it's short, and then they're like, you know, this would be great as a game. Like, let's find some developers.
I think it partly was that. I think the creative designing was kind of in that direction.
Yeah.
Like, I think they really wanted to make a movie, but then they really wanted to get into the game developing world and see what they could do.
Right.
And this is what they've made, and it's just like
so it would be cool, like, you know, like you're watching the movie, and then it would normally be like a cutscene where it goes from this location to a new location, and then they've interacted with something else where now you get to play that transition from that location to this location. That's like how they pieced in the gameplay. Like, they show part of the movie, boom, they pieced in the gameplay to show you how that person got from here to there, and so on and so forth, you know, through the story. So, I mean, I'm interested. I definitely want to see it, man, and I hope that they will like give us a chance to see all of the cutscenes. I know some games
in one
have actually done that.
Right?
Yeah. Some games have actually given you like a way where you could just watch all the cutscenes.
I'll
like,
tell
I
you
think
this.
Days Gone has
if
that.
they don't do it, some dude out there in the world
is gonna just do it on YouTube.
Clip it together and put it on YouTube. Right?
Yeah.
Someone's gonna do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
The game looks fantastic. It's really surprising when they give you some of their background, because I would have never envisioned this product being designed by people who were in the kind of entertainment industry, because like it's just like the flow of the game it looks so like calculated, you know what I mean? One thing I really like too is it seems like this character is very iconic, as in there may be a series at some point. It seems like they're putting so much emphasis on the little things, because normally, you know, when you have some sort of franchise, this is the effort you put in, and it's really hard to believe that an indie, you know,
this is like Ori in the Blind Forest, right? Level.
Yeah.
Like that level, because they're trying to make this character memorable.
Yes.
That they're going to, because, you know,
they're
bringing out more Oris, clearly.
Yeah.
Like, and that's an indie. Ori's an indie, right?
And I'm pretty sure they can get PlayStation to back them again. Like, hey, we want to make it 2. You know, can you help us with this funding?
This game's gonna sell,
for that?
dude.
Like,
and for only $39, it really shows you, you know, what you can get.
Man.
I know, Anthony G, you know, the price doesn't matter when you like a game and stuff, but this just shows you for this, you know, fair price of $40, you can get a well-crafted high-end product. You know, they didn't spare anything. Like, you know, Godly was saying, they went to a different country or they went somewhere else to get all these unique sounds. And it was cool that the person in charge of all this music, his daughter is actually the person who voices Kenna.
Right.
And they were saying, you know, she doesn't have any background in, like, you know, voice acting or anything, but I guess she was just a natural. And I was going back and listening to her voice. I was like, yeah, you
wouldn't know it was her first time.
Yeah, when she was reciting her lines, it didn't sound like someone who was an amateur, right?
She sounded like a natural. She's like a veteran
actress.
or
maybe she's just been in the mirror practicing a lot.
Yeah.
My only thing with like the price, the reason why I love the price, you're right, but we don't know how long the game will be.
Yeah.
We don't know if it's like a short game, which is maybe why they made it lower. But I just think like with anything, there are certain expectations with certain things that you pay for, right? Like if I buy a car, and yes, even if I like the car, doesn't mean I'm going to pay anything for it. There are certain expectations I expect when I buy the car. I expect it to have these things, this type of engine, this type of, interior, this type of, stereo systems, speakers, all the things I expect should be there for this price. So while price, in the sense, of course, I'm gonna pay if I like it. I'm gonna buy it. I still have certain expectations, which is why I always bring up the $70 price tag. There has to be, and I think we have as a community have to have a defined definition of what is $70. What is a AAA title? What does that include? What expectations do we have for that beyond just, if I had fun, I'll pay anything for it? Mm-hmm. No, you won't pay anything for it. You have I love Last of Us 2. I'm not going to pay $1,000 for it. Right, like, so of course we have to have a point at which we agree, right, that this is what you get for this. So that's all I would say in regard to the price, which is why I like the $40 price tag. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious as to why they did that instead of going with the $70 route.
Did they say it was digital only? I don't remember. Do you guys remember?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's digital only. For right now, it'll release at first digital, and then eventually they will do a physical copy, kind of like Mortal Shell
Got you.
Same way.
Yeah, because I don't know the exact numbers, but I speculate that when the game's digital, obviously they get bigger cut.
Absolutely.
When the copy's in the store, Walmart has to get a cut, then they have to get a cut. So maybe $39 is how much they get out of it. So
no, well, their PlayStation is gonna get
PlayStation gets a cut, but I mean, like, when your company sells 1,000 PlayStation games to Walmart warehouse,
right?
I don't know how much the Walmart distribution, how much are they paying? Probably $40 for the copy, and then they sell it for $60.
Right.
I don't know, but
right, exactly.
Well, they would. Well, I mean, if the game is $40, then they probably getting it for like maybe $25 or something like that, maybe $30.
Yeah.
I do know that sometimes there are games that will have a way bigger discount, and there's others that you just not getting no discount at all. But
maybe them launching on digital helped have a smaller price tag.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that mattered. It just seems like they don't care if it's digital or not. We're charging you the same amount, whether you buy it digital or physical, which blows me away because you're absolutely right.
You don't have get to a lot less for digital.
Yeah, you don't have to pay for the manufacturing. You don't have to pay for the vendor. Mm-hmm. You don't have to pay for the shipping. Yeah. You don't have to pay for so many things. Yeah. But you're charging me the same amount for digital. And I hate it.
I think that comes with like with like how convenient it is for you. Like, you never had to leave. You never had to go and pick it up and purchase it and then come home, tear it open, put it in a disc. You get to download it right now.
Right.
And if you'd like, you could download it earlier so that it's preloaded so that as soon as 9 o'clock hits, boom, it's ready to go. You can just fire it up.
Yeah, but that never will, in my mind, supersede the freedom of being able to resell your game, share your game, right, and own something actually physical in your hand versus something that is nothing but zeros and ones.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I love physical stuff, but when I start to look at things like, in totality or whatever, I realize that I hold a lot of my physical copies like way past where they would actually have like any tremendous value,
mm-hmm.
like any decent value. And so now I've got this case with this disc that's just sitting somewhere, either on a shelf or in a box or something like that, and I got to figure out something to do with it. You know what I mean? And it's like, physical copies are really good when you're trying to share that enjoyment that you got with somebody else.
Well, it's beyond one,
you can borrow it.
It's just the choice.
Yeah.
When you buy physical, you give yourself freedom. When you buy digital, you rob yourself of the freedom. So even if I choose to never sell the game and end up collecting dust on my shelf,
it's not like you're necessarily robbing yourself of the freedom, but you're
robbing yourself of it.
You're forfeiting
forfeiting. Either way,
robbing would sound treacherous.
Robbing is you're taking away something. That's what robbing means.
Right, but they're not robbing me. I'm choosing to forfeit my.
You're robbing yourself. They're not robbing you. You're robbing yourself. Yes. Yes, I can rob myself.
I would say, it comes with a couple perks, but it also, you lose the ultimate, hey, I physically own a stake in this game. Here it is. Mm-hmm. So I am leaning more towards digital, just the fact that you don't have to put the disc in. And when you're trying to play multiple games at once, it's super convenient. But yeah, Ray is right. You do lose that ability to ultimately, hey, I want to get out of this game. I don't like it. Or, You know, I've had it too long. Let's sell it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to wait
Yeah.
for Kenna to come out with the physical edition to play it. I'm going to get the digital edition because that's the only way we can play it right now, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's just going to determine, you know, what they add extra with the physical edition, whether I would want to buy the game again just to have a physical copy. I know there's some people that just really enjoy having a physical copy. I just want to play the game. So if there's only one way to play it, you know, then it is what it is. But if they do like, you know, what we had discussed where, you know, they give you another disc and it's just a Blu-ray DVD, you know what I mean? That's a Blu-ray movie that's got the whole thing on there. That might be worth, you know, grabbing it because that's something that if I enjoyed the story and everything, you know, my kids might want to watch that or whatever, you know?
Right.
So, you know, if they give me something a little extra with it, you know, if I got to pay like $10 more or something like that or whatever.
Yeah. For me, in my opinion, it's never worth sacrificing the freedom that owning the copy has. I have to receive some kind of value for that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I have to get something in return.
Like a discount?
That's why I say robbing myself, because I'm paying the same amount of price for the same thing for less. So like I've spent more money. Like I've robbed myself of certain choices, freedoms, and perks. And I didn't get anything for it. Zero. I paid this. If I bought Ratchet and Clank digital yesterday versus buying it physical like I did, I've just robbed myself of all the perks, freedoms, and joy for no benefit. I got nothing. It cost me the same amount of money. That's why I used that term.
Maybe not the same amount of time. That's what we were saying. Like,
yeah,
you know,
I saved myself the 15 minutes that it cost me to go down.
But if you
there.
bought it online, you know, Amazon Prime, you know.
Or even if I bought it on Amazon Prime, which they deliver it day one either way.
But you would have had to wait.
No, Amazon delivers it to you on the day it comes out.
Yeah, but the game, everybody was playing that shit on Thursday. The people who had like
the
digital.
Oh, you're saying if I
copies
bought digital, I could play it at night.
Yeah, you could play it at you could play it the day before when it's, you know, releasing because it's released in New York or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's minimal to me though. I mean, especially to me. I know that's something. Mm-hmm. I know that's a perk, but is that the same as having the freedom to resell my game for over half of what I paid for it?
No, especially if you do it. If you resell your games, then
I
it's
do.
definitely
I
one
do
of those
resell
things.
them.
But there's a lot of folks
don't you
want to
have that? But don't you want to have the choice to do that?
I like to have the choice.
You want to have the choice, right?
Because every now and again I might sell it, but I've noticed that of late I haven't resold anything.
If they sold it to me for $20 less or whatever, then I would think, okay, that's a fair decision now. Mm-hmm. Do I spend $70 and get it physical and have those perks, or do I spend $40 and have those perks and I got charged less?
Yeah, at that point, then you're looking at what are you getting?
Yeah, then you actually have
I would
a choice.
probably still buy physical, but it's a choice now.
Yeah.
Now it's an actual choice. Before, it's not a choice at all, in my opinion. But
yeah. But moving on to the next topic. Does Sony got some beef?
Yeah, man.
They got some
Phil
problems.
Spencer's
I
jealous.
see exactly here. What
Yeah,
Phil
dude. So
Spencer's
pretty
saying,
much
man.
Phil Spencer's jealous. I'm exaggerating here, guys. Phil Spencer's jealous that they're selling Clank.
Phil Spencer. Now you guys. Phil Spencer is sick of this shit. He didn't release games.
He's jealous that they can sell Knack in 2021 on Steam for full price. Guys, this is exaggeration, but it goes along the lines of he made some comments that, hey, Xbox and the Microsoft, we have our games day one available, and on PC side, they're day one as well. And if you have Game Pass, you get them for the low subscription price.
Right.
And he made a comment. He didn't say Sony, but he said that they're selling games that are years old for full price.
Years.
See, this is funny. This is Phil Spencer. I'll quote him for you. Mark really hit it well. He says we're the only platform currently shipping games on console, PC, and cloud simultaneously. Others bring.
That's cap.
He says others. He doesn't call anyone out specifically, but others bring console games to PC years later.
Because Nintendo ain't dropped shit on PC.
He put an S there. He said others.
Emulators,
bring console games to PC years later, not only making people buy their hardware up front, but then charging them a second time to play on PC, And of course, all of our games are in our subscription service day one, full cross-platform included.
Well, that's horseshit for one, because
agree.
if I recall, there's quite a few games that will release first on console before they even release on PC.
100%. Destiny. Man.
And Destiny is one of them. And on top of that, there's a lot of games that will release on console and PC, but will not be available for cloud.
Yep.
It's a mixed bunch.
Yep.
So, maybe you got a couple out there, bro, that you put and they own all that shit. But
Well, I think if you look at this strictly as him talking Sony,
yeah,
then it makes a little more sense. Because, when you use the word others, it kind of is horse shit.
Yeah.
It's not really right. But if you just said Sony.
like Microsoft games and Sony games, you mean?
Yeah. If you just said Sony, then it's like, okay, now I see what you're saying. Because Sony's the only one, literally the only one, who's waiting years later to re-release a game that came out on console originally.
Right.
But what I do think is horseshit across the board, regardless of him using the word others or not, is they're not making me buy the game over again.
No.
First of all, I'm not going to buy the game over again. Literally, he's not making anyone buy it over again. They're asking people who've never played it before to buy it for the first time.
Right.
That's a big difference.
And it's like a brand new release.
And to them, it's new.
To them, it is new. It's brand new to them.
It's the first time it's come out on PC. It didn't come out on PC 8 years ago, and then they redropping it. No, it never hit PC.
Yeah.
It hits now. This is the price.
Yeah, because
this is the price of games.
That logic is flawed, Phil Spencer, because here, you guys are going to get Persona probably, and then
Right.
you guess, you guys are going to sell Persona for full price, aren't you?
Yeah, you
I would assume you would.
Shit.
But
You're
it's
not
old game.
discounting that. You're
Crazy?
right. Yeah, you crazy?
Yeah, the term is new to you, So so it's new to a person or a platform. That's new to a certain extent.
Exactly.
Like the game Disco Asylum. That game came out in 2019 and on Steam, but it's
paid
still
full
new
price.
to all of us. Like let's say
Well,
on
I
the
got it
console.
on sale, but you came out at full price.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's still new to us, and people are
Right.
gonna buy it. People are gonna pay as new because it's new on the platform. So that's still
Totally.
they still can have the new tag. You know what I mean?
If Sony relaunched Sunset Overdrive, I'll pay $60 for that. Right?
Dude, that's
Yeah.
brand new on the PlayStation.
It's not.
You would have to-
I'm talking about if it came out on PS5.
Yeah.
Because it was never available for us if we didn't have an Xbox.
Right.
I would buy it. I've never played it before. Like it's Insomniac.
To us, it would be a
Ratchet
new game.
and Clank.
I
love
thought
it.
you had Sunset Overdrive for your Xbox.
For my Xbox, I had it, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like, had I
If you
played
never
it,
played
if I never had an
Yeah.
Xbox,
okay.
I'm just saying there are so few Xbox exclusive. I point to one that might, because
Yeah.
I point to one that could potentially actually end up on Sony's platform because they just purchased.
Because they purchased the IP
the
or whatever, right?
IP.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I can see that as being a possibility.
Yeah.
And I can see a person who never owned an Xbox.
Why wouldn't you?
Dude, it's from Insomniac Games. It's going to be just as good as Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, all these wonderful games.
It's
they
never
produce.
been on your system. Why wouldn't you just put that on your system?
Yeah, I would pay $60. Why would you not just charge that?
Now
Everything does that. Even Tomb Raider did that.
okay, but do you charge $60 for the game because you just acquired the IP or whatever for it and you're putting it on your brand now? Do you charge $60 for a game that was made back in 2014, or do you revamp it, like almost remaster it in a sense, so that it's
And then
up to
charge
date,
$60.
and then charge the
Yeah,
$60?
that's what you would do. You'd slap the remaster.
Because I
probably.
couldn't see if you tried to sell me this game because it's on a new console now, on a console it's never been on before, but it's still got the old ass graphics. Trying to sell me full price for it, fuck no.
I would
But-
say
Well, you remember Sunset Overdrive is just last generation. It's not
Yeah,
2 generations
but
ago. It's a
I
PS4.
feel like
It's a PS4 equivalent game.
I feel like it's
But it was
heavy
a launch
steps
title.
above it.
I would say though, when you go to the PC side,
Uh-huh.
you're lucky that the PCs have settings. So if your
Right,
computer
right.
can run, if you spend $2K on a graphics card because you got scalped,
it's gonna bump it up.
you're gonna run 4K no problem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about does this game support 4K?
Yeah.
Your computer
Is
does.
this support?
So
Yeah.
when you go to the computer side, they have a lot more, I guess, leeway on. We don't got to remaster this.
Yeah.
Let them deal with that.
But I think
Absolutely.
it would
You know?
it would appear different though, right? If you have a game that's been developed in 4K as opposed to a computer that will just pump out 4K graphics, right? Like it won't be as defined, right?
Well, it's all in the pixels. You know what I mean? If you're playing an old game, if you're playing a game from 720 to 4K, it's still the same models.
Well, I think
but
what
higher
Marcus is
pixels.
talking about, like the engines. I think we're talking about the engines and the resolution.
Yeah.
Because what Marcus is talking about is right. Like, it doesn't matter if it was a game that they originally created on 1080p TVs. I mean, 480p TVs.
Right.
And then they could just make it 4K in its resolution.
Right.
But the engine would have been an old engine.
Because it's still gonna look.
with
They're
more
not gonna
pixels.
be as designed.
Yeah,
as
fewer
developed or
pixels.
whatever.
I mean,
yeah.
fewer triangles.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So yeah.
but you can still get unlimited FPS that your computer is capable of and your resolution. So at least it'll feel. It may not look like you can only polish a turd so much. You know what I mean? So it'll still look like the old engine, but it'll play buttery smooth. So sometimes to me that's all that matters. If it's buttery smooth, I could give two shits on how it looks.
Well, I'm the same way. But we know Marcus.
That's why. That's why I don't like them PC bastards, man.
Well, dude, let me ask you
They have
this.
too much leeway.
Let me ask you this, man. Like, just to kind of like touch back again on another topic. Battlefield 2024 is releasing at $60 on PC. It's $70 for a PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Oh, I didn't see
but
that.
it's $60 on PC. What do you think about that? They're getting the 4K. They're getting the 60 FPS. They're getting the ray tracing.
Okay, but are
But
they
we have to pay an extra
developing
$10 for that.
Are they developing it like it's supposed to look great and fantastic, or are they just giving it whatever graphics and hoping your
No,
PC
but I think
would
that's
juice
what
it
Mark
up?
is saying. The only difference between Battlefield 2024 on all the platforms is what the system is able to pump out as far as resolution and frame rates. The way it looks is static across all the systems. They built it on one engine. They didn't like use a different engine to make the Xbox Series X one versus the PC one.
Right.
So what's
Biomutant
static?
probably did.
What's static is the resolution and frame rate, which is if you buy it on PS5 and Xbox Series X, you get the frame rate boost and the resolution boost. But PC gets that no matter what if your PC can do it.
Yeah.
So why are you charging $10 less?
Yeah.
That's bizarre, right? What do
It
you
is
think about
weird,
that?
dude. I just think maybe because they have to optimize it. Maybe, because when they have performance mode and then graphics mode, maybe maybe Microsoft and Sony is charging a cut. Maybe PC doesn't have as much fees behind
Maybe.
it.
I know what it
But
is. I'll tell
what
you
is
guys what it is.
Oh, the
It's
physical copy, maybe?
because it's because of the physical copy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Every PC game is purchased through Steam or Epic or whatever.
It's
There's
rare
there's
that
no
there's
more
physical
disc
copies,
drives
dude.
now
It's rare.
on stuff.
I don't
like
have one
you
on my
rarely
PC.
ever see a disc
you don't
drive
buy
on a
physicals,
PC
but
or a
of
computer
course
of any
they don't
sort.
give us a discount because it's digital on the PlayStation Store.
No, but maybe they're thinking that because it's PC world, we'll just get y'all a $10 discount because I ain't got
And
to
maybe
come up
because
with no
PC
cool
hasn't
picture
adopted
frame or
that that price yet. Because they still on last gen consoles charge last gen prices, and PC hasn't moved up to the $70 price tag yet. So maybe
So you
What?
think they
That's
just
so
get that
weird,
leeway
right?
going to a
Yeah,
console
it
that
is
didn't go
determining
70?
Is there some mastermind behind PC consoles who's determining price?
I don't know because
Why?
it's a manufacturer
Doesn't-
MSRP. What is that's manufacturer suggested retail?
Yeah, doesn't the manufacturer, the person who made the game,
They dictate the price, right?
DICE, right? They make Battlefield. Don't they determine the price of their game? I feel like we're being charged a tax because they know my console can do 4K, where they don't know if a PC grunt can play their game in 4K, but they
Maybe.
know
Maybe.
so they're charging me a tax because
Yeah, you're
that's
right.
bizarre because I have a better system that can handle it, so I'm therefore that has nothing to do on their end. What I can pump it out at has nothing to do on their end.
Yeah.
It's like they're charging me for the use of my own power.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I think I
don't know.
recall like the Schmigiggins group having something to do with that.
Who determines all this, man?
It's got to
Why
be
are
the
PC
Schmigiggins
games
group,
still
man.
coming out at 60, but we get taxed for owning a PS5? I feel like that's what it is. We're being taxed. The PS4 guys don't.
Well,
the
you know,
PC
you
guys
already
don't.
know you're getting taxed to own a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, because
But
they literally
It's one thing, like for instance,
pricing
with
their
Ratchet,
games
if they're
higher.
giving me features that I can only experience on a PS5, like the
It's
Rift
haptic.
thing,
different,
yeah,
yeah.
the haptics and the rips, like Returnal with the haptic. Do you know what I'm talking about with the rain? The little dots.
I turned off.
Dude,
vibration.
Why do
You gotta
you guys
experience
play your
that.
shit with it off?
You gotta at least experience it, and then
How do
turn it
you
on.
have a dual
To at least
sense and
have
you
an
play with your
opinion.
sets is off?
All right, because
You walk around
battery,
blind.
some
right?
of
It's
the some
the
of the
battery.
all right. So
That's a battery.
I
Get a
turned
second
my triggers
controller,
off.
bro.
I'll admit that.
all
I'll
right.
turn my
So the
triggers off.
trigger crap, I didn't like it.
I turned my triggers off. I'll admit
You,
that.
I couldn't get how to do the alt fire versus my regular fire. Like you had to hold it a certain way, and I didn't like it, so I turned it off. The way
The
you're
trigger
shooting,
thing, I'll admit, but the haptic.
I
feedback,
guess
I
if it's
shut
not
off.
implicated
I
or implemented right, you
because
know,
of the
then-
trigger thing was confusing at first. Like when I first got the alt fire, I was messing up, and I was like, all right, this is too confusing. Let me just turn it off so I could just have a regular R2.
But you turn it off through the entire like the system. Like you
Through
can't
the
just turn
settings
it
of the
off
game.
through the game. So you could just turn it. You could turn that off.
I shut it off in the system.
Oh,
you turn yours off in the
I think I
system.
shut mine off in the system.
I shut mine off on
That's
the returnal
You
settings.
might as well take your ass
settings.
back to a PS4, bro.
Dude, I was
doing?
playing something and it was really annoying me, dude.
I couldn't get it.
It felt like my controller was breaking.
Destruction
What
All
was
Stars
it?
was the same. I couldn't like the
Dude, what the
pressure
heck
on the
was
R2. I didn't like it, so I just said, nope.
It was Valhalla. It was Valhalla. I think I shut it off on.
Yeah. Because when you pull it, it just doesn't feel right, man.
Dude, I think it was Valhalla. Like whenever. Oh no, it wasn't Valhalla. It was Immortal Phoenix Rising. That was the one that made me shut it off. There's little things on there you'll have to experience yourself. But like when you're looking around, it would start to really rattle when I was getting close to like something. And then when I pulled the trigger, it was like annoying me because I had to like push it all the way through. It didn't have like a special setting, but it was like trying to give me tension.
Yeah.
Like I'm pulling a bow back.
Yeah.
It's trying to give me that experience, but it wasn't doing that. It was just annoying me.
Yeah.
And it was like slowing down my reactions. I was like, I gotta shut this off. I can't take it. And I just never turned it back on.
Interesting. You guys is crazy because I would try to figure out how to work around it, right? Because that's how they developed it or whatever.
It was just
you
annoying,
guys
bro.
You guys are giving yourself mulligans. You're technically cheating.
I'm gonna turn it back on just for you, Marcus. But when I'm trying to run and gun, I just want to click it and shoot. I don't want to have to like hold it.
No, I'm the same way.
But it's almost like a finesse, like a style. If
You're
you
running
learn
and
how to
gunning, though.
use
You're
it.
I
like-
got to
you're
give
just-
it a chance. But,
Exactly, man. You got to get it down. The
sometimes-
developers put it in there, and they
I'll
want
give
you
it
to
a
use
chance.
that shit. Use that shit.
Okay, well, I'll just say
I'll
I
give it a
forgot to
chance.
turn it back on. But I didn't turn it off for Eternal. I just forgot to turn it back on.
Just don't do it for the system, man, because you're gonna shoot
Ratchet
yourself
have
in the
that?
foot.
Does
for
Ratchet
everything.
have like
Hell
tension?
yeah! That's what I was trying to tell you on the gun. When you go to the pea shooter, when you're shooting, you can half cock it, and then you'll just tap 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 tap. But then when you pull down, it's like do 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 do. And I didn't notice it because I just do heavy.
On
pulls.
mine, it's just semi-automatic. So if I just pull it, it does tap tap tap. And if I hold it, it does semi-automatic.
Okay, so that's why you were saying that's how it was with the shotgun.
Right.
If you half cock it, it's
I do
one shot.
Pull cock.
If you pull it, you'll do both
if I
barrels.
Hold, yeah.
So
Which
yeah,
that's more natural because that's how games always have been that way. We didn't have this haptic stuff.
Yeah.
So it was weird to me playing with the haptic because I wasn't used to it.
I mean, in any other game, you got a double barrel shotgun. You're gonna shoot both barrels off when you pull the trigger one time.
Right.
But this one's just allowing you to just get off.
As long
pop,
as I
pop,
semi it,
you know,
as long as I let off of it,
Yeah.
it won't shoot both barrels.
Okay, but yeah, I was but like I was saying, like I would just, pull the trigger down at first and just to get the rapid fire spit. And then I didn't realize that if you ever so much pull it right past that first part to get to the second portion, you actually can feel the trigger.
It's trying to hold you from doing it. Yeah.
No, like you can feel it like
Yeah.
giving you the
Rotation.
haptic or whatever.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
thought it was just the vibrations in the controller giving me the haptic feedback. I didn't know it was the actual triggers
Yes.
giving me the
No, the
feedback.
triggers.
So when I was
That's
looking,
what
I
I
was like,
experienced when I
oh,
was playing the game I was playing.
because I don't know if you remember seeing the videos or whatever of Astrobot. And you was shooting the little cannon or whatever, and the video was showing the guy's fingers as his fingers was twitching like crazy while he was slightly tapping
Because
on
the
it.
controller's pushing back.
Yeah, and I was looking for that shit. I'm like, this bullshit. Ain't no games got this stuff on here. Until I realized that, you gotta weak finger it. You gotta do the sissy handshake on it, and then you start to feel
All
like
I know
you can
is
see it.
the moment I shut
can't
that off,
you can
I
feel it,
started
whatever,
enjoying
but-
my gaming experience much better. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But I haven't turned it back on since. But the moment I shut it off, I started to enjoy my games much better.
Yeah.
Or the
Man,
game I was playing much better.
Just go back to
Hey,
PS4
but
controller.
in
man.
Astrobot, and keep in mind, go platinum Astrobot. I did. It's like 3 hours to platinum that thing.
Yeah, I gotta play.
Do it. But no, and the
I'm
haptics,
still waiting. Maybe
the
maybe I'll
haptics in
figure out a game
Astrobot I
I'm playing.
loved.
Yeah,
Because that was to me, that was like the whole reason for the darn game.
it's
You know what I
probably
mean?
because it wasn't like life or death. Like
Yeah.
maybe it's a little bit
There's
more
no pressure on
bothersome
you.
if like you click the trigger the wrong way and you shoot off the wrong shot while you sitting there trying to avoid getting killed by some massive alien beast barraging you with hellfire or something like that. But in this game, in Ratchet and Clank, you should be able to enjoy it and stay alive. It takes a lot to freaking kill you, dude.
I'll keep it
Like
on.
this is a
Keep it on.
kid's game at the bottom, the
Yeah,
base of
that's
it.
true.
It's a kid's game. And there's no way in hell you should be like, rage quitting and stuff because you died because you pulled
it
the
was just
trigger wrong.
robbing some of the enjoyment. I wasn't like,
I
even
guess
when
you-
I was playing it, I wasn't dying. It was just not fun.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
This should be fun.
It
though.
wasn't fun. The triggers weren't adding enjoyment; they were robbing enjoyment. Not robbing difficulty or making it harder. It was just
You
robbing
robbing.
enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right. So on to the last topic. Y'all gonna have to tell me about Deviation Games. Let me know what's the lowdown on
Yeah,
Deviation.
so I'll say what I know, and then Sir Knight can go on his part. But this is a new studio that was founded by two, I guess I could call them veterans, gaming veterans from the
not
Black
war
Ops.
veterans.
Yeah, sorry, not war veterans. No, gaming veterans from the Black Ops series of Call of Duty.
Oh, so they practically are like war veterans then.
Well, and Black Ops is the most beloved of all the Call of Duties. But anyways.
Right.
I still like the OG, the Modern
Well, I'm
Warfare.
talking, yeah.
But yeah, you're
Modern
right.
Warfare.
That
Just
and-
by the communities. I said by the communities.
yeah, that was a great. But anyways,
People love to call it Black Ops.
they were involved in, I think, the original Black Ops and maybe the Black Ops afterwards. But
They're involved with Treyarch. Let's just put it
yes,
like
they're
that.
from Treyarch. One was from I think he worked on the zombies portion, and the other one kind of led just the general story campaign.
But
Okay.
these are like the directors of those.
Yeah, they're like
things.
the
Yeah.
top dogs of those
They
two
weren't just, like,
areas.
members of the team.
Yeah.
Like,
They
were
weren't
like,
devs, they were
yeah.
like directors of that.
Okay.
So their visions are going to come out to make a new game in the Deviation Games studios. We assume it's a first-person shooter, but I don't think they announced any details on what type
No
of games.
details.
But you just assume two Call of Duty guys probably going to make a first-person shooter. But that's all I know. I think you mentioned something about... I think there's some other details you have.
Well,
Right?
for one, they're up to like 100 members. This development studio.
Holy
Okay.
cow.
It's big.
So they're still considered indie though.
Is it in?
I think they've maybe
At 100, that's
at 100.
indie.
That's
101
probably
had
Yeah,
like
you're right.
100.
You're right.
Yeah, but they're growing. I think they're trying to add more. But
Okay.
like they're already up to that mark.
Yeah.
So they're growing, and I think they're trying to get to a AAA, and they're going to put AAA money into it. And the cool thing is they partner with Sony, so it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Oh well, I think that would pretty much make
And-
them a AAA at that point, right?
Well, yeah, once
Getting
they
the
partner
backing
with
of Sony,
and that makes them AAA.
maybe.
But Sony's always had a difficulty trying to find a vein of in this, first-person shooter kind of first-person shooter world. Can you think of any like Sony exclusive that's been like
They're
Killzone?
all
great great
none of them are
first-person
Resistance?
shooter?
yeah,
Yeah, Resistance is the only one I could think of it, and that's not even considered one of the greats. But that's
Is
like
Killzone
the only
a
one.
PlayStation
Killzone is too, but it's
exclusive?
not
Yeah.
good. It's not very
Yeah.
good,
Yeah. What else did they have? That's pretty much it, man.
right? Where of course Microsoft has always been kind of at the forefront of shooters.
Farpoint.
Farpoint was not considered a great one though.
Farpoint got like nice.
That was a
That was a
VR.
PSVR though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the general public,
Just regular.
multiplayer first-person shooter games.
Okay.
Sony's had a hard time. That's one area Sony's had a hard time getting a hit in.
Right.
Like Microsoft has its hits in that realm. Sony has seemed to never
Even
been able to get
freaking
a hit
Nintendo
there.
had some hits.
Yeah, and so I'm just
What should
thinking.
I say here?
Well, I mean, like Spelunky was
Splatoon.
Spelunky.
Splatoon was pretty popular.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
first person.
okay.
like
You're
that.
right. You're right.
It's just Sony just hasn't been able to break into this realm very well. They tried with a couple, but they've never really taken.
Yeah.
And so this is a big deal in that regard because this is like a big one. This is like a big, AAA level talent that they're getting, and they're getting it. And I think they're going to own the IP of it. And
And you guys are focusing mainly on like exclusives, right? That's
this is
what
going to be
you mean?
exclusive.
Like, because Splatoon is an exclusive for
I'm focusing on
Nintendo.
exclusives.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, okay,
exclusives.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm not talking about because every system can play the great multi-platform first-person
Like Apex
shooters.
and all that stuff.
Apex
yeah.
and
All right,
Call of Duty
continue.
and stuff.
My bad.
But this will be like exclusive to Sony. Wow, that's going to be like hopefully Call of Duty level quality shooter. Wow, like that's why I'm like pretty blown away by it. But what's I was forgetting where my train of thought was going with the Deviant Games. Well, I forgot where my train of thought was going. But basically, Sony is going to be getting their first ever exclusive first-person shooter to their system. Oh, that's where my train of thought was going. This is like the poor man's way of buying IPs or buying studios, right?
Because you
Where
start with a small one and
yeah,
have
you just
them
like
build up.
partner with a group, give them backing, give them credibility, give them some money in exchange for like an IP that hasn't been tested yet. Where Microsoft is going just buying tested, tried and true IPs and studios.
I don't know if I want to say poor man's way, but I'd say
It's kind of
I'd say
not
it's
poor,
a strategic
but in
way.
relatively speaking, because Sony's poor relative to Microsoft.
Yeah,
Relative to Microsoft, Sony's poor.
That's like when you invest in something before it's
Well, we
renowned.
saw that,
Yes.
You
that
get in at
Sony's
the bottom.
revenue was
Yes,
like at
you
the
get at
top
the
of the
bottom.
chain.
Yeah.
No, but the money that Sony has versus the money that Microsoft. Remember, Microsoft's a $1 trillion company.
Mm-hmm.
Sony's
How
nothing
much
like
money
that.
is Sony worth?
Sony is probably a couple $100 billion, which is like drastically smaller than Microsoft. So yes, it's not poor, but I'm just saying, in the relative of who you're competing against, Microsoft, right, has tens of billions of dollars just cash on hand. Sony doesn't have barely anything cash on hand. They probably got hundreds of millions, but not billions.
Yeah.
Right? So in comparison to Microsoft, they're poor. But this is a clever, smart way. Like you said, jump in early before it's known, and you're taking a little risk, but you have very good talent that you are pretty confident are going to deliver.
Oh, yeah.
And now you've cheaply acquired a very valuable IP. And so I think that is the route Sony has to go. And that's a smart route. Did you say smart or
I said it was like a strategic
route. It's a smart way to compete with someone who has a heck of a lot more money than you. Mm-hmm. It's very smart when you don't have the money to compete with Microsoft, who's just buying up IPs.
And you build I feel like you would build a lot of loyal developers that will always come back to your platform to keep making something, regardless if the money looks good somewhere else, because you were the one that gave them the start. You know what I mean? Like, I decided to break away from a big company like Treyarch to start a smaller company with me and like a couple other dudes. And yeah, my name holds enough clout to be able to bring in a bunch of other people, but we still need some backing, some money, some support. And you're willing to do that, like, without a doubt. You know what I'm saying?
They both benefit.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, even though they're giving
Sony's
going to
collect on the back end.
Yeah,
for sure.
they're giving away an IP, but it's worth it, man. Because you make a name and you
and
become
powerful.
powerful.
Who's giving away the IP? What do you mean?
Deviation is giving away their IP to Sony.
Oh, so Sony will own the IP.
Yeah, Sony will own the IP.
They're going to produce
They're developing it.
Okay.
And it's coming from their studio, and it proves their studio. Mm-hmm. And they'll be great from that point on. So it's worth it to them. Both are benefiting.
I think it gets bought after
the question I wanted to ask you, though, was, Sony just gobbles
if it's
them up.
good, I think I just get purchased.
The question I wanted to ask you, is it too soon? Because clearly this game's years away. Whatever they're making, it's years away. Is this too soon to announce this partnership?
Nah.
Because will we forget about them by the time we start 2 years from now? What are they gaining by telling us now their partnership versus a year from now, and our game comes out next year?
I think it's just a battle of Phil Spencer. They got sad that Phil Spencer talked crap, so they're like,
true.
"Hey, we got some studio, we got some
yeah,
other
or
things."
just an answer like to Bethesda, "Hey, look at guys, we're doing things too." Yeah.
Or I could see it being a benefit for Sony, and the way that I would see it being a benefit for Sony, right, is if you're looking at like stocks, like how much their stock value may be worth. If there's talk of a group of people that could produce possibly Call of Duty quality stuff or even better, and it's strictly a Sony's IP, so Sony will own this and they'll have this on their thing. Maybe it makes their stock
adds
rise
value,
a little bit.
adds a little value to their name.
Because Call of Duty is something big, so if you're adding a
Yeah.
game that's as good as Call of Duty, they have this IP and they can get anybody they want to work on it.
It's promising.
After
It's very
Deviation,
promising.
they
It
can
add
always
value.
make it better.
Yeah.
You know. So
So
I don't know.
It's
maybe.
probably multifaceted, but I definitely
Just trying to
think
think
it definitely,
somewhere
it's multifaceted. That's probably one of the
sure.
reasons.
Yeah.
But definitely, they need answers, right? They need answers. What's cool too, when I saw this too, is like it's so funny for a console and a company that's not at E3. They seem to be at E3 a lot.
They just like throwing their news out on the
It's
on the
so
floor.
funny, right? For a company and console that's not even showing up to E3, they seem to be at the center of the conversation,
making the
dude,
headlines
all the time. I think it's just funny to me. Like Death Stranding Director's Cut, that was announced. That's a PlayStation exclusive, and it's just it's so funny. Everything is like Sony centric, and they're not even there. It just cracks me up.
Hey, so how'd you feel, since we speaking about that? How'd you feel about the little cussing that they showed us for Death Stranding?
Confused.
It just looked like I was like, okay, are they doing like Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah, it's clearly
and then
not
they're
Metal Gear Solid.
they're adding the character from Death Stranding.
No, this was Death Stranding. This is the game Death Stranding with
So they're gonna add a Metal Gear Solid aspect to it.
Yeah, it's got
or
added
something?
content and features. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So
They didn't, but what was weird, they didn't show us what you're gonna do with that.
Yeah.
Nah, they just showed the box thing, which obviously brings
It's
you
a
Metal
it's
Gear
a nod
Solid
to
in your
Metal Gear
head.
Solid, yeah.
When
But-
you go in the box.
Yeah,
you're talking
it's
about hiding
a
it.
stealth.
Yeah,
map,
Yeah, except
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
thought that the box, like I thought you put the box on top of you,
Not
or like
inside.
you close the lid.
Yeah, and you move in it. You can like slide.
Right,
in
there's
it.
like a
But
wall
he
you can
just
see
jumped
through.
in that
He just
bitch
sat
and
in
sat
it.
there crouched. Like the fuck
That's
is
what I'm
you
saying.
doing?
It's
Get out,
confused.
dude.
It was
Go shoot
confused.
those guys
It was
or something.
confusing,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I don't know. But
But let me ask you:
anyways.
none of us played Death Stranding. Does a director's cut make you feel like I'm gonna
Fuck
try
no.
it now?
Yeah.
Is it 20?
Because I think I told you guys I wanted to try
You're so
it.
funny, man.
But I still want to try it. Anthony G,
It
you're going to
does-
hate this.
it
I'm going
does
to add
make
it.
me-
It's
You
still
You
on my
added
game
to the
list.
list?
I mean, yeah, it's on my list. Like, you know, people who read a lot, like my wife, she has a list of books. Like,
Yeah.
she updates on her phone.
She gonna eventually
so
get
it's
to
normal
him.
to anyone who
Yeah,
likes
I have a
things.
game list.
Yeah, I mean,
He was just talking about how long your list was,
I
because
have
you got
a
about
list.
like 20 or 30 of them on the
Hey,
list.
man,
Well, you gotta, what are you
everyone's-
supposed to do?
You gotta start somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
you have that many games to play. What are you
I
supposed
mean,
to do?
you gotta tell him,
dude, you
man.
know
I
how
don't know what
many
you're
you know how
supposed to
many
do.
games are in existence? Like,
There's a lot.
Yeah.
and
What
I
does he
play
recommend
I
Mark
play
do?
any games going all the way back to the Game Boy. So
He probably recommend what he do. He don't got no list because he take forever to play the games. So, is it why make a list? You just get to him when you get
I
to
don't
him.
know, man.
You know what I mean? I
Well,
think he
you gotta
got
remember.
whatever he
There's
bought.
a lot
That's
to
the
remember,
list.
man.
yeah, there's a lot of games. So I have a list, and Death Stranding is on the bottom of that list, by the way.
My
So-
question: do you actually got a list, or
Mhm.
you just got like a mental note of some things? Like, did you write something down?
It's probably on his phone.
I,
right?
I have a computer.
got, like, an
I have
actual list,
on my
a
desktop.
note
I have a
list?
list on my
I
notepad.
have
Okay.
notes on my phone
Of everything you want?
of the games I want to play. Yeah,
Yeah.
I put movies on that too. I have a movie
Yeah.
list that movies I want to see.
Yeah.
I forget,
I
man.
should
I
create-
have so many things to think about.
Yeah.
I should create a list, but I feel like it's much more of a surprise when I go, oh yeah, I remember that shit. That came out like a while. Oh damn, it's 20. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
I have a list
it's
for
like you
TV
redropped the year.
shows and for games.
Movies. I do movies.
Okay.
I have TV. I
Yeah.
have video games.
Because my coworkers used to always like
recommend stuff
recommend
for you.
things, and then they're like, "Remember,
I got a
recommend this
book
to you?" I was
list.
like, "Really?" Yeah,
Yeah.
book list. My wife
Well,
has.
it kind of
Yeah,
does the
yeah.
same thing. Like once I've run out of games to play,
You looking on
Yeah.
the list.
I
to see
cancel the
what's
list,
next.
and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah. So I
Forgot
kind of
about
get
that.
that feeling. That's the one I wanted to play.
Exactly.
I
And
just get the
remember.
feeling when I see a sale, and I be like, "Oh shit, I never did play that game." Let me
It
buy
is
this
fun when you
thing,
go to
yeah.
the GameStop and you're browsing. You're like, oh, that's right. That's the one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
I need
Yeah.
a list to remember, man.
I only do the list now because I used to do that window shopping of games,
Uh-huh.
and as a result, on Steam I have
Mad in your
100,
my wish
200
list.
games. No, I have 100, 200 games I never played on my Steam account.
Ah,
And
damn.
then-
Cause you just purchased
Because I'm just
them.
like, oh, there's a sale, summer sale. This sounds
Uh-huh.
good. Scoop, scoop,
Yeah, me
scoop.
too,
Oh,
Mark.
80% off.
Me
And I
too,
never
Mark.
play it.
I have a few games on my Steam that I've never played before. And I
So
bought 'em.
I don't do that anymore. I literally, games that people tell me, hey, play this, I play those.
Okay,
'Cause
Anthony
otherwise-
G. In the comments below, put your game list on there. if
Hey,
you
Anthony
got
G, I'm
one.
going to make a game list for you, man.
What stuff you need to play?
Yeah,
Get
you
off
need-
that
all you
damn
need to
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw him playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, he's still on that.
Bro, did you
shit.
play Valhalla yet? Because I played Valhalla. I'm just kidding.
Dude, Odyssey is incredible. That's my favorite one.
It's
It's
I
my
heard it's a
second
good
favorite.
game. I can't say it's a good game because I haven't tried it. But if it's anything as good as Valhalla,
It's better
I would
than
agree
Valhalla.
that it's
Yeah.
good.
Better.
You think it's better than
Better.
Valhalla?
Better.
Mm,
And I've played them both.
damn. Okay.
You need to get on it, bro. You're going to really like it.
yeah,
It has
I
the
gotta-
ship battles,
I have to
man.
find a drought. I have to
That's
find
basically
another
why I
time
like
where
it
it's
better.
drought.
It has the ship, a
Oh, so
custom
they
ship.
let you fight on the water?
Yeah, water combat.
Black Flag style?
Yeah, Black Flag style. And you have the open seas to sail, just like Black Flag, where Valhalla is just rivers.
Right.
You have the open sea, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. And you can't even fight on the boat.
No, Valhalla
On,
can't do
Valhalla.
no boat combat.
It's just
Yeah.
for travel.
Just for
That's it.
traveling. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so Deviation Games, the studio, I'm looking to hear more
Sony
about
making
them.
moves.
I don't know if we're going to hear anything else from them this year.
Not
I
till
think
their
everything
games,
is going to
not
be
till
like
their-
Probably
not
not.
till they have something to
next
show.
year or something like that. Towards
Until
the
they have
very
something
end.
to show, right?
Yeah.
Next
Yeah.
year, maybe 2 years from now.
Right. I wonder
I'm
if
thinking
they'll
a
be able to
2024
like
release date of their game, probably.
I wonder if they'll be quick with the assets and stuff like that to be able to put something together fairly quick because of what they've worked on.
Well, they have
Or
Sony
if-
back in
or
there
if
now. They
they
can have
can.
all the time they need.
Yeah.
All the money they need for the most part.
Yeah, for sure.
They're good.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they create and then what
Definitely.
this means, for
Yeah.
Sony as far as this goes. They
Definitely.
have this IP, like where they're gonna go for it. That was another thing that I wanted to mention about Elden Ring is that when they were discussing Elden Ring, they were saying that this wasn't just like gonna stop at the game, like that
Sequels
they
and
were
stuff?
gonna do a lot more with it. So I don't know
I'm
if
so
like
excited
maybe
for
like
Elden Ring.
some type of
Can't
a
even tell you.
mobile version or something like that, you know, like some different aspects going on here. But it definitely seems like they got big plans for this title. So I don't know if that's
Give us a show or something.
just because of like
book.
It could very well be a
Give me a
show.
book, dude.
Yeah. I mean, you know, but I mean, you got George R. R. Martin, so you got
Yeah.
everything that he's capable of doing. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So who knows if he's written like 4 or 5 books just based upon this world, you know, and what they're gonna do with
dude.
that. It would be kind of interesting to get a novel of this game of Elden Ring.
That would be dope.
You know, to be able to put
That's what I'm saying.
alongside
Give
of
me
the
a
video
book,
game
man.
after you've played
Heck
the video
yeah.
game. You know,
And then
so
you're
that
like,
you get more insight
and
on
then
what
you
happened
read it.
through
It
the
makes
game.
you want to go back and play it, like
Yeah.
to see the things you didn't realize.
Right. You know,
Totally.
so.
That'd be dope.
That's cool. But that's all we got for you guys this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Again, if you're listening, we've been dropping our podcast on Podbean for quite a while, but I think we are going to switch from there, from Podbean to Acast, and all the shit on Podbean seems to just disappear once I cancel. So if you guys would like to still listen, you can always go to our YouTube channel, check that out, just play it in the background while you're moving around and doing whatever you're doing. That also helps us out. Yeah, Patreon links in the description. We also got shirts available. We waiting on our samples to come through, so we can put them on. But we'll be wearing them probably next episode. I think they should be here tomorrow or whatnot, so you guys can see them.
Heck yeah.
If you want. Yeah, we'll catch you guys next week with a whole lot of E3
Next
shit.
week's big,
I don't even know how we're
fellas.
gonna fit it all in the episode.
It's gonna be
this
huge.
episode is long as hell. The other one, you might be looking at a 4. We might
The
do like
next
a
one's
part
gonna
2
be
or
big,
something. I don't know. Man.
Yeah.
We'll try not to do y'all too bad. We
Enjoy
might
the
not
week.
even talk about what we played.
Enjoy
And
the
then
week,
just talk
everybody.
about
Jump
E3
right
and
into
stuff
it.
like
Enjoy
that.
the week, everybody.
But yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Deuces.
Peace.
See ya.
I love you, me.